I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. Good afternoon. How would you like to make as much money in one night, more than you'd actually earn all year long? That's what Jordan Walker did when he won the Major League Baseball home run derby last night. That's amazing. You watch that, Brad?
I did. I saw all of his at bats. It was it was crazy. I didn't think he would win. I thought he was going to be in it. I thought he'd, have a good showing, but I didn't think he would win.
Yeah, he won $1 million, more than his $799,000. Ethan's going to talk about this later on. Ethan Hannaford, our resident expert on all this thing, all things Cardinals, all of that stuff. He's going to talk about it later on, but I just had to mention this because this is pretty cool. I love and I love the thing I love about these sports stories is the journey that people undergo to get there. It's not one night. It's his entire life. He's been working for this, right? And the setbacks that people suffer when they're athletes and the doubts that they have about their ability and the doubts that others have about their abilities. And I just love his story. It's a great story. So good for him. There was a whole story in the Post-Dispatch this morning about when he was in the batting cages in the spring. Mm-hmm. And he finally said, I'm just going to hit these balls as hard as I can. I just took a few more, didn't worry about even how a swing worked. Just hit it. He said, I caught some barrels and I'm like, I'm going to dial it back a bit for an in-game swing. He said it worked. I went from there. I didn't think about mechanics, but later looking at the video it was what I was trying to do. And I think it's great. He's got a career high 22 home runs, as you know, with 2.5 months remaining. So, like I said, Ethan will talk about this a little bit later, but I just love it. And he said at the peak of his career, he's ascending, obviously, he's not reached the peak yet. He addressed his teammates and he thanked them for being there when he was at the bottom of the bottom. Now, as you know, 4 Cardinals are going into the All-Star game, which is very cool. But God bless him. He was a first-round pick, and this, once again, from the Post-Dispatch, was a first-round pick struggling to get traction in the majors at that time. See, that's the thing. When you look at people like where I am, Fernando Mendoza, other people who have been these big stars, the fact that they are a first-round pick doesn't necessarily mean anything, does it? You could be really great in college or really great in high school and never do anything in college, or really good in college and never, or really good in the minor leagues and never make it in the major leagues. It's a heck of a journey.
Yeah, it's wild to see. And it's crazy to me because I would say it myself, I was one ready to write off Jordan Walker, but whatever it is that changed, and I want to ask Ethan this, whatever it is that he figured out or whatever it is that changed between last year and this year has made a world of difference. I was at a game, what would that have been, Thursday night, and he smashed an absolute bomb. And it was like, this is the guy that the Cardinals thought they were drafting when they drafted him.
Right. Because that's the thing. The coaches who watch these guys, the scouts and the coaches who keep an eye on them, they watch them over many, many, many games. And they're watching all kinds of things that are way above my pay grade as far as what they're looking at. And one of the things also is attitude. This guy's got a great attitude and has worked really, really hard. No matter how good you are naturally, here's a guy 6'6", that helps, 250. Okay, good shape and everything. But there's a lot more to it. Obviously, attitude's the main thing. And how many people have we seen, I'm not going to mention names, have we seen burnout in football, Major League Baseball, all kinds of sports, because they just think they are God's gift to the sport. They walk in with their bling on or their attitude, whatever. And, that's not what's going to work because you are part of a team. And they never seem to get that, some of these guys.
Right.
So I love it. Now, Herrera, who's also going to make the, obviously, as you know, the All-Star game tonight, he was talking about when he was 14 or 15. I love this. He said, my lowest point definitely was there when they were telling me I could not play baseball. My dad, here's a crazy story, Brad. Okay, my dad, as you may know, was a showroom musician and a big band musician, okay, when I was a kid. And when he played in the showrooms in Vegas, he worked with one musical director who told Barbra Streisand, I'm not working with her. She can't sing. Okay, so I'm just, Elvis was told to go back to driving a truck. We could go on all these stories of people who were told they sucked, right? We've all been there. Or the boss who loved you on Friday, you get a new coach on Monday and you can't do anything right. You can't talk, you can't sing, you can't throw a ball, you can't, that kind of deal. But Herrera said when he was 14 or 15, he said that my lowest point definitely was there when they were telling me that I could not play baseball. Now, here's a kid who's probably playing from the time he was 8, like most kids. Start playing baseball at 7, 8 years old, right? Maybe younger.
Yeah.
He said, I did not have power. I didn't have the physique because I was chubby. So what did I do? What did I just say about people's mental attitude, right? Herrera said, I went to the gym. I got on a routine. And even when I signed, I said, okay, I heard some scouts say, we'll see if he can hit in the Dominican. And then we'll see if he can hit in the USA. God bless him. And, for some people, that's energizing. For others, they would say, the heck with it. Okay, they're right. I suck. And I guess we all have days like that when we doubt ourselves for whatever reason. But some people are like, yeah, please, I beg you to underestimate me. And that energizes them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great. I love sports stories like that, the human interest side of it, right? Because it's not, a year or a season or what, it's your whole life. These kids have been playing professional sports since they were sometimes younger, 4, 5, 6 years old, not professionally, but playing football or baseball or soccer or something since they were little tiny kids. And maybe they didn't dream about it then, but when they get older, they start dreaming about their future and maybe they can play this professionally. And to have this happen, it's a 1 in a million thing. And then to have it be very successful is another 1 in a million. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I would say like every kid, even they don't just dream about playing in the majors or whatever it is. I don't want to just play in the majors. I want to win the All-Star game. I want to play in the All-Star game. I want to win the World Series. Being the kid that is up, or the guy that's up to bat with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth and the winning run on and hitting the home run, winning the home run derby. It's always awesome to watch these stories come to fruition because somebody does have to do it.
Right. And it's an attitude. It's not getting distracted by the wrong things, with the wrong friends or, the wrong substances or getting caught up with the wrong women. There's all that happened. How many, we could go down the list of things that have distracted people from amazing careers over the course of, sports history in America, certainly in any sport. And it's just nice to see some people succeed like this and work really hard to get there. And even when, like I said, once you get to the major leagues, oh, well, I don't know what why would you be coaching me? Why would I have to work on my swing? Because I've already gotten here.
Yeah.
I've arrived.
Yeah. Having the right attitude, not reading your own press and believing it,
Right. Or listening to your father or whatever. What?
I feel like you were referencing specific people at that point.
I didn't mention any names. I'm just saying you come in like you're the king of the universe with your bling on and your dad thinks you're the greatest. So therefore, I'm glad I had real parents. Did you have real parents who played it real with you?
Yeah, I still have real parents.
Yeah. Your mother, I don't care how accomplished you are in life, your mother can just give you a look and put you back in diapers. Isn't that true?
Oh, I hate it.
All of your life. I don't care what you've accomplished, what you've done. Your mom will just give you the look, really.
You know what, though? The other thing that your mom can do, because your mom is the biggest fan, and I don't know if I've said this on air or not, but I'm going all the way back to the inauguration of Donald Trump and when they were swearing in J.D. Vance. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember the look his mom was giving him while he was being sworn in. But if being proud of your kid was a single look, that was it. That would be in the dictionary. That would be all over Wikipedia. This is what it looks like when your mom is proud of you, because she was just in awe of her son who had achieved that office.
Yeah. Your parents have such power and sway over you. And your parents shouldn't be, whether it's sports or anything in life, your parents should always be your biggest fans, but they should always be real with you. And they should never treat you like you're the king of the universe or you're like some kind of a princess, when the fathers say, oh, nobody's good enough for my little princess, and don't have her, do anything around the house or don't have her help with, things that are done around the house to improve the house or whatever, because she's a princess. Well, what kind of a wife is she going to be?
Yeah.
If you train her to walk in the door and say, I'm not getting my hands dirty.
She's not going to be a wife.
That's my point. That's my point. And I think parents really have a job to do when it comes to that. And when you have an athlete, I've got a kid in my church who I've known since I've got videos of him. And I sent it to his parents. I don't post anything of anyone's kids online, showing me how to hold a football when he was 4 years old. He goes, no, Miss Heidi, you got to hold it on the laces. And you got to do it like this, trying to show me how to throw a spiral when he was 4 years old. Okay. Now his parents chose baseball instead of football. Can't blame him. I love both sports. This kid pitched a no-hitter. He's like 8 years old the other night.
It's crazy.
He's always been super coordinated and super talented. And he's the sweetest child you ever met in your life. His parents are wonderful people. And that's a big part of it is like, look at Fernando Mendoza. Could you find a nicer kid on the planet?
That kid is great.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Fernando, that the Raiders took you, the sucky Raiders, but they don't deserve him. What a great kid. Loves his family, just a nice kid. And, but where does it come from? It comes from the family saying, okay, this is great that you do this, but we love you whether you're successful at this or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to be a brat because, when I see this kid this week at church, I'm going to make a big fuss about him hitting a no-hitter, but he's not going to walk in thinking he's something because he doesn't have that kind of family.
Right.
And this starts at 8 years old. And then when people have an actual ability, let's say you play football, whatever, you have an actual ability, then you start getting spoiled. Coaches and teachers and other students start treating you like you're somebody special. And it's hard to keep them down on the farm at that point. That no wonder they get to high school and college and think they're sometimes bigger than they are. Or I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people who peaked in high school.
What
right?
a terrible time to peak.
Yeah, that's a terrible time to peak. And that was the last time after those were their glory days. And after that, it went straight downhill. Okay. Anyway, congratulations to Jordan Walker. Very excited about that. Next hour, Ethan will be here. Cannot wait to hear what Ethan Hannaford has to say about that. That's all coming up on the Annie Frey Show. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey.
Listen up. If you have not paid self-employment, business, or individual taxes in years, the IRS will find you. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. I offer real solutions. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When Donald Trump needs conservative votes to help pass his agenda for Missouri, Representative Trisha Burns never answers the call. Trisha Burns has missed 370 votes. Burns is bucking President Trump's priorities. Burns did not vote to stop DEI initiatives, prevent China from owning Missouri land, defund Planned Parenthood, and Burns did not vote to ban boys from girls' sports. Trisha Burns not showing up for Missouri and President Trump. Instead, Trisha Burns spends her time pulling pranks on the suicide prevention hotline. Yes, you heard that right. Trisha Burns lied to the police and staged a fake suicide emergency. She sent a series of messages to the hotline and said she, quote, had a gun to her head, end quote. When she got caught, she said there'd be no consequences because she's a politician. By August 4th, vote to show Trisha Burns that there are consequences to being bad at your job. Cut the Bull Pack paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim, and if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Annie Frey is St. Louis conservative.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. Good afternoon. Lots of news, of course. Lindsey Graham's sister has now been appointed to fill in as the interim senator for South Carolina, first woman to do that in the state of South Carolina. Very exciting. I think it's great because she's an outsider, but she knows more about the inside than a lot of people would because apparently they're very, very close. Joining us right now is Jared Halpern. He's a White House correspondent, political anchor for Fox News Radio. How are you, Jared?
I'm well. How are you?
I am doing well. So here's my question about Lindsey Graham's sister. What's the attitude in the White House and in D.C. in general? Because I know Nancy Mace, she had to be one. I'm so glad they didn't pick her. Oh, my gosh. You don't have to comment on that.
Well,
I
listen,
will.
I mean, I think the reason you don't go with somebody like Nancy Mace is because she's rumored to be considering jumping into that race, that the governor had made clear that he wanted this to be a caretaker role. This is a term that ends at the end of this year. So this is just
right.
a short-term ask. It allows this primary and the election that will follow to run its course. Because if you get appointed and you're running, it kind of may give somebody an advantage, and the governor doesn't want to do that. But also, you are then running what could be a pretty competitive general election while also serving in the Senate. It takes you away from the campaign trail. And so from just a pure campaign perspective, it makes a lot of sense to go with Darlene Graham, the younger sister of Lindsey Graham. President Trump says that this is a suggestion that he had made. Others had made the suggestion. Seems to be a lot of eagerness to get her into that position. She'll be sworn in here in about half an hour or so on the Senate floor. And she is somebody, obviously, that knows her brother's thinking on an awful lot of issues. She is not a politician, has not held or run for office, but she's been by her brother's side, by Lindsey Graham's side, throughout his entire political career.
Right,
she was at his launch when he announced that he was running for president. She has been with him on election night. She has been with him when he has announced he is running for re-election in the Senate. She was an unofficial sounding board, an unofficial advisor to her brother. So she comes in at least with an understanding of where Lindsey Graham was on a whole host of issues that she may have to vote on here, at least for the next couple of months.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is she may be an outsider, but she has a lot more inside knowledge than a lot of people. We're speaking with Jared Halpern, White House correspondent, political anchor for Fox News Radio. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. You mentioned something about when you're in office and you're dealing with a competitive race. I mean, that happens not with every senator, but that does happen with sitting senators a lot. Do you think there's any chance that Darlene Graham Nordholm is going to want the Senate seat long term? She
hasn't said she does. She said that she's doing this to kind of finish Lindsey Graham's job. She has not indicated that she wants to run a race for the Senate. I think there are going to be a lot of people that start to announce. This is going to be a lightning fast process, by the way. Remember, Lindsey Graham had the Republican nomination for re-election. That happened a couple of months ago. He won the primary. He was the Republican nominee. This sets up a process that happens really quick, at least from a campaign perspective. Starting next week, candidates can start filing the paperwork to become a candidate for the Republican nomination. There will be a primary election in early August, and if necessary, a runoff election a couple of weeks after that. And then it's the general election. And keep in mind, Democrats went through this primary the same time as Republicans. They have a nominee. She is in place. She has been running ads. And so there is going to be some pressure amongst Republicans to, have somebody who has the apparatus already kind of in place to hit the ground running and run a statewide election in a place like South Carolina, which, listen, I don't think is in purple state territory by any stretch of the imagination. But this is a wrinkle. This is an unknown. We know what the political environment looks like, the landscape looks like. And so a bruising Republican primary, as short-lived as it is maybe not what the state party is going to be looking for. So we'll see how many folks kind of jump in. Does President Trump get involved? Does he put his thumb on the scale? Certainly, we know that he has endorsed in the past as a pretty good win-loss record, at least in Republican primaries with that endorsement. And so I think over the next few days, as I look at the landscape and the field, that's what I'm going to be looking for, kind of signals that President Trump wants this to be a quick process without too much Republican on Republican violence, if you will.
That's a very good point you made. I'm just thinking as a voter, I'm thinking from the voter's perspective, I
Sure.
kind of like the idea of a short primary and go right to election. I mean, instead of a long,
Listen,
drawn out.
That's how they do it in other countries don't have 24/7, 365 election cycles. They take breaks. There are laws in other countries that don't let you have an election for more than like 4 weeks. Maybe something to look into. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I absolutely think that might be something to look in. I think it might help, but I understand your point about the Republicans having to get it together and put out whatever ads, and it is different. But then a lot of people say nobody pays attention to anything until after Labor Day. You do because you're in it. I do because I'm in it.
Yeah.
But the average voter, and I'm not putting anybody down. It's not about they're not smart. They're taking summer off like we should, right? And so they start getting interested in things after Labor Day. And I'm thinking, I don't know how much this short campaign is going to change things if they start paying attention after Labor Day. What do you think?
No, well, it's a shorter time frame, especially if somebody who is nominated is not. Lindsey Graham had name recognition like maybe nobody else in the state of South Carolina, right?
Right.
So a lot of people would say, oh, that's Lindsey Graham. He's been my senator forever. He's been my congressman. Vote for Lindsey Graham. If it is somebody who represents, say, downstate or somebody that represents upstate and maybe doesn't have that statewide portfolio, that's the only challenge, right, is kind of trying to build that name recognition, build that message, and win that trust in a way that maybe, somebody who was an incumbent, certainly an incumbent as long as Lindsey Graham, doesn't have to do, right? That was you never did not know where Lindsey Graham was on any issue. As somebody who covered him for a long time,
Right.
I can tell you, we never wanted to. It was never like, oh, I wonder what Lindsey Graham thinks about this, right? Like you knew where he stood on issues, I think voters appreciate that, and so he was a known commodity. Obviously, now somebody who comes out of this field may not be as quite as known a political commodity.
Interesting. Well, it should be fascinating to see because this is an unusual event. This doesn't happen very often. What do you hear about Mitch McConnell, speaking to senators we haven't seen lately? What are you hearing about that real quickly?
Obviously over the weekend he put out that lengthy statement, explained his situation, explained the health. He had a fall, got pneumonia. His physician put out a statement as well. They had the photograph. Everybody made note that it was that day's Washington Post with the big draft pick that the Washington Nationals made, a hometown kid. We're all very excited. But it raises questions about kind of transparency. I mean, it basically took the governor of the state demanding some transparency here about what is the situation, when are you coming back? We still don't know exactly when he intends to come back. He is not running for re-election. Remember, there is a Senate race in Kentucky. And so we'll see kind of how that plays out when he returns. If he decides to not come back, there is a process that's a little bit different. It's a little bit more partisan in Kentucky with how you choose a replacement. But you're also very close to a general election. And so that is a different situation, certainly, than Lindsey Graham. And we'll see how that plays out over the next days and weeks.
Yeah, very different. Well, if you could drag a lectern into the basement for Biden, they ought to drag a lectern into the hospital for Mitch McConnell so he can give a speech. I want some proof of life. I'm still not sure about that picture. I don't expect you to comment on that. Jared Halpern, thanks for joining the Annie Frey Show. Always great to talk to you.
Sure thing.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. Coming up, we've got lots more to talk about, including, obviously, we're going to talk about some Cardinals baseball. 4 Cardinals are going to be in the All-Star game, which is fantastic. Great news. We'll also talk about Iran a little bit later with Brent Sadler, who's a senior research fellow and a naval warfare and advanced technology expert, because we're going to charge for going through the strait. Wait, no, we're not. That's changed in the last couple hours. We'll get to that. And there's a very cool train coming to St. Louis. If you're somebody who's into trains, you're going to want to hear about that. That and more coming up on the Annie Frey Show. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey.
Work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck, taxed. Your property, taxed. Everything you buy, taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
If you like that comfortable setting to hang out where people know your name, check out Lit Cigar Lounge. My friends at Lit Cigar Lounge are fantastic. Brian and Dana and Andrew and Charlie and Nick and all of them down there are going to get to know you by name because it is a family-run business in the Chesterfield Valley and the district. They've got an extensive selection of bourbons and whiskeys and craft cocktails and some of the best hand-rolled cigars from around the world. Check them out at the district or go online to litstl.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA. So we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: have the Cardinals got their groove back? Yes or no? We want to know what you think after Jordan Walker's amazing win in the home run derby last night. Is that Cardinal swagger back? Have the Cardinals got their groove back? Jump on Annie's YouTube page, vote in the poll, leave us a comment, or text us at 314-241-9797, and Heidi and I will be monitoring that text line, and we'll check your text, and you got a good one, we'll read it on the air. The time is 12:32. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. 250 years of capitalism, private ownership, and rugged individualism. America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. Good afternoon. Hope you're having a good day, good week, good month, good summer, all that good stuff. There is a very cool train that is coming to St. Louis. I asked Brad during the break, I said, you're into trains, right? He's like, no. But he's an aviation. You're an aviation guy,
yeah,
right, Brad?
that's where, like, I like mechanical things. So if you have, like, cool mechanical stuff, I like seeing how they work, but really like aircraft and cars.
I'll tell you what, some of the most popular shows on YouTube are these guys who are just fixing stuff. You know, my husband loves to watch them. I mean, I'm a wife, so I have to put up with this as I pass through the living room.
I am one of those guys.
They're just I'm not putting it down because I watch stupid stuff that, I watch. Everybody watches the stupid stuff that they like, and that's not stupid, but these guys are actually fixing things and really helping people. And it's fascinating to watch how many people do this kind of thing. Everyone's got their interest. And of course, in St. Louis, obviously, if you've got an aviation interest, hello, what a great place to have an aviation interest, right?
Yeah.
But some people are train buffs. I know people who are real train buffs. In fact, I was watching. Have you ever taken a train trip across the country?
No.
I have not either. And I was watching a video the other night, and I feel like a dork because if I'm the last person, okay, I guess I'm the second to last person to know this. But some of these trains are amazing that go across country. I watched a video of a guy going from Seattle to Chicago, and then he had to get off in Chicago, and then he went to New York. But the scenery, I mean, I feel like the last person to know. Beautiful, beautiful scenery.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great way to travel. And the great thing about getting on a train is you get on a train, and once you're on, you're on. You're not getting off, wrestling with your luggage. You stay on the train until, you can get off at a stop, but you're not having to haul all your stuff off there. And that's kind of cool. But anyway, they have quite the fancy train travel plans. But a lot of people are into the big trains. And there's one called the Big Boy 4014. It's the largest working steam locomotive in the world. It's 133 feet long. Listen to this. It weighs 1.2 million pounds.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. I had no idea that much weight went down those tracks. I guess I should have guessed because some of these trains are incredibly long. But 1.2 million pounds?
And that's just the engine, right?
Well, it's 133 feet long, so that's not very long for 1.2 million pounds, do you think?
No, that's a lot of iron.
That's a lot of iron. So apparently what they're doing is they are driving these trains across the country to celebrate America's 250th birthday. They're bringing the Big Boy across the United States. I guess there aren't many. There were 8 still in existence, okay, of this particular kind of train. But the 4014 is the only one that still runs. So now they're going to bring it to St. Louis, and you're going to have a chance to see it over the weekend. And that's very cool. It's going to go across the MacArthur Bridge late Saturday night, stopping at Union Station.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Won't that be cool? It'll be on display at Union Station from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. July 19th. Now, the event is free, but by the way, show up early because, parking and people and all that kind of stuff. And you're not going to be allowed to get that close to it because it is a steam locomotive that's working. Obviously, steam is hot. Mm-hmm. But apparently, they will blow the whistle.
Yeah.
So, I think that's cool. I mean, there are people who, these buffs who will park at certain places to see certain trains go by.
I've seen those videos. They're like, okay, it's going to be through at this time, and there'll be people just gathered around the intersection or whatever, and the train blows through. I mean, it just blows through. It doesn't even stop or slow down or anything. Just rips right through, and these people are like, woo, that's great.
I know. They're so, and then the little kids, and then they honk the horn, and the little kids are so excited to see that kind of thing. Kids make that motion, honk the horn, that's cool. I like it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so that'll be a fun thing to see. If you're a train buff, could be a once in a lifetime thing for some people.
And that's Saturday?
That is going to be Saturday, yeah. Coming in. So very exciting. So get out and see. It's going across the country, I guess. I'm not sure if it's hitting every state, but it's going. I wonder, I guess the rail lines can hold something that heavy all over the country. I'm assuming. I know nothing about. My grandfather was a dining car steward.
Well,
and that's what he did for a living. And I got to tell you a quick story. When my father passed away, going through his possessions, I found an old newspaper in something, and I'm thinking, why does my dad have this newspaper from 1951? And I'm looking through. Why would he have this? And there was a giant train wreck that was on the cover of the newspaper, right? I'm looking through. Why would my dad have this? His father survived a train wreck that killed 17 people. That was a huge deal. And not only that, his father survived it. And it was a big train wreck where 2 trains collided in Alabama in 1951. But what was interesting is my aunt told me this. My grandmother, because, there are no cell phone, none of that stuff back there. My grandmother heard about it, couldn't get a hold of my grandfather, went down to Alabama and walked that track until she found her husband.
Wow.
Can you imagine? And they lived in North Carolina at that time.
That's crazy.
So she goes down to Alabama. She literally walks the track until she finds her husband. He was injured, but he was not killed, thank God. But my aunt said that he was never the same after that. Very shook up, it was a real mess with 17 people killed on it. But, that used to be a pretty often occurrence, right? There were people get killed in train wrecks because a lot more people were traveling by train as transportation as opposed. I don't know the stats on it now. I would imagine that obviously much more of stuff going on trains is cargo versus people.
Oh, for sure. I would say so.
Yeah, with planes and buses and other modes of transportation. But back then, rail accidents were fairly common. And that was quite. Can you imagine surviving something like that? I mean, how would you I guess you'd probably have survivor's guilt, and I don't know the details as to where he was. I did actually look online and find the whole report that was written on the accident. That's what a geek I am. But I don't know where my grandfather would have been positioned in the train to know how he survived and others, if everyone was killed in one car versus, I don't know the details on that.
Wow.
But yeah, I know it's an interesting story.
So you made me Google that train, and so that big boy locomotive was built in 1941. They built them in 2 batches, and the 1404 was built in 1941. So the first batch of these was built in 41. The next batch was built in 44. They continued to operate through 1959, and I think the last one actually retired in 1962. So as long as it's not like these are super ancient trains, but they were using steam engines into the 60s, which is a pretty cool thing to me.
It is pretty cool. It's very cool. I did not realize, when I was looking at the information, I did not realize that this stuff started after Lincoln. I guess I should have known this. Union Pacific was founded in 1862. You just mentioned 1962. Abraham Lincoln signed the Pacific Rail. This is some of this I'm quoting from the Post-Dispatch. Abraham Lincoln had signed the Pacific Railway Act to create a transcontinental railroad. So interesting. So that train stopped running in, as you mentioned, 1962. And even though it wasn't built 100 years ago, that's 100 years before was when Abraham Lincoln signed the Union Pacific Railroad. I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah,
I love history, even if it's not particularly a part of history. I'm interested in. I'm always fascinated by history and how things have evolved over the years,
and how important and core to the development of the United States that rail was. The Transcontinental Railroad connected, the West Coast to the East Coast.
Right.
Before that, it was wagon trains. The only way you get across the country is on a wagon. Now they had a railway that could take stuff. And as that expanded, more railways expanded, and the more people could travel, the more growth the country saw.
Exactly. Well, that's true. And when you think about even state, let's go with New York, for example, and places on the East Coast, as where they're much more dependent on mass transit. That's because the communities were built around, like where I live in Vegas, we didn't really have much mass transit. Everybody on the West Coast, those places were not civilized, but founded after cars to a large extent. Right. So we had cars to drive around. There were long stretches between towns and things like that. Where in New York City, everybody lived here, and then the railway went out a little further, so then they could move there, and then they could move there, right, and then they could move there, right.
Well, you can even see it in the layout of the cities. West Coast cities are much more sprawly than East Coast cities. Even just within the single city, and the streets are bigger. They were developed, like you said, when the car changed. That's when those cities were built up, and it's interesting. You can actually see history by looking at the layout of cities across the United States.
Exactly. And you watch how people used to have to be very dependent on public transportation to get anywhere, and they could only live as far as the train went. And so
right.
I'm fascinated by all those kinds of things, how
and
transportation,
local grocery stores or delis or whatever in New York, because people could only walk and they could only carry what they could carry. You couldn't load up your car with groceries. You just a bag or two of groceries, and that had to get you through the day or two or whatever it was.
Yeah, and that's still true in a lot of places in New York City, right? You go downstairs to the place down below where your apartment is, and you just grab a little bit of stuff, and that's a day or two's worth of food.
Mm-hmm.
You're not backing, like you said, you're not backing the big truck up into the beep, 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 into the, Costco or whatever else.
And loading up a year's worth of toilet paper.
What is it about those places, Costco and Sam's Club? You go in for, I don't know, let's say you go in for some canned goods and you walk out with a recliner, a flat screen. How does this happen?
It just plays into the American abundance mindset.
It does, and you walk it. Right, and everything in front of the door, when you first walk in the door, is nothing you need. Nothing you need. You have to walk to another zip code to find anything you actually came in there for. And I'm not putting them down. This is how they make their money. But we all get distracted by the abundance of America, and aren't we glad we have it? I am. I'm glad. We are big, we are bad, we are loud, we are proud, as it should be. All right, much more to come on the Annie Frey Show today. We are going to talk to Ethan Hannaford a little bit more about the Jordan Walker Home Run Derby, which was fantastic. Governor Mike Kehoe is going to join us. a little bit later today. I'm very excited to talk to him about, unfortunately, it's about the flooding that's happening in some areas of Missouri. We'll get to that. But boy, has he been proactive, getting everybody, getting the helicopters out there to rescue people. We'll talk with him about that and much more. On the Annie Frey Show, I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey.
Ryan Wiggins here with 97.1 Talk in Action for this month. Stop by the Mission Depot in High Ridge on Saturday, July 18th from 9 to 2. New suits, on-site hiring, VA benefits assistance, and free hot dogs. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
CiviaLaw.com. Have you made the phone call yet? I hope you have, but if you haven't right now, the first 10 callers at 833-995-WILL, that's 833-995-WILL, to mention Annie when you call, are going to get your initial strategy session with my estate planning attorney and hopefully your future estate planning attorney, Todd Civia. 833-995-WILL, the first 10 callers right now to mention Annie, are you going to get your initial strategy session free? That's incredible. A $300 savings. If you are looking for estate planning services, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, you go to Civia Law and you are going to be well taken care of. My husband and I have really appreciated the services that have been provided us by Todd Civia, and he's waiting for your phone call. 833-995-WILL. He can turn around documents from that first sit down in 2 weeks. Avoid probate, which can cause a loss of money, time, and privacy. Call 833-995-WILL online right now at CiviaLaw.com.
Men, need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
It's Mark Cox. Celebrate the month of July with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129 and get your air ducts cleaned for $5.99 per unit. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings.
Let's take a break.
Good idea.
Hey, Tom, what are you doing on that Amendment 4?
You know, we fought for our freedom and rights. I'm not giving them away without a fight.
4 takes them?
That's exactly what 4 does. For over 100 years, Missouri voters have used our constitutional power to act when the politicians refused. I'll be darned if I'm voting to pass on less freedom and power to my kids.
And doesn't 4 also kill majority rule?
Yup. Creates minority rule, or just 5% of the most liberal statewide voters in one Missouri congressional district that block any citizen-led reform, making it nearly impossible to pass common-sense conservative citizen ballot measures.
That's crazy town stuff.
And we've needed our citizen ballot measure power to pass some big conservative stuff, like outlawing tax hikes without voter approval, lobbyist reforms, and term limits for career politicians.
No way I'm letting a tiny fraction of liberals derail our conservative power. I'm no on Amendment 4.
Hard no on 4.
Pay 4 buttons are inch per care governance.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey today. How y'all doing? Just me and Brad. Are you Brad Range?
Just.
Are you Brad Range?
This is a great show. Yes, I am.
We were joking the other day about being recognized in public because you asked me if it ever happens, and then you said it happened to you in a store.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be buying something embarrassing in a store when they notice you, right? You don't want to be like buying Depends or anything.
What is that?
No, these are for my grandma. Really, I swear.
I swear.
I know. It's one of those fun things. Now, ICE is now going to stop, apparently. They've been instructed now to end most vehicle stops nationwide after what happened in Maine and in Texas. I was not in either one of those locations. I only know what I know. It's been reported about those cases. But it seems to me, and it's possible, that when somebody pulls up to you in an unmarked car, I mean, especially if you're from a third world country where that is routine. right? People, right? Am I right?
Yes.
People pull up and they just go, okay, and they try to take your whatever, and you're used to that kind of thing. Who knows if that was the situation? It sounds like it might have been the situation in Texas. Don't know. I'm not going to litigate the case here. But to me, if you're in the country illegally, you should be looking over your shoulder. Could we all agree with that?
For sure.
You have no right to be here. If I were in another country, any country. Look, if I was going to live in Europe, let's say I'll pick a country, Spain. Okay, I love Spain. I've not been there much, but it's beautiful. Looks like California with castles. It's a beautiful place. So if I was going to live in Europe, that's where I'd live, in Spain. Okay, great. If I were living there illegally, I would be looking over my shoulder because I would know that I was not following the law.
Right.
So when I'm not following the law, and if I got pulled over, I'd be nervous. But and I don't really know. I understand why some people would have someone try to pull them over and they wouldn't instantly stop because they might be terrified it would be some thugs pulling them over who were trying to commit a criminal act on them and not necessarily ICE agents. I understand that. Once again, I wasn't there. I'm just based on the reports I've seen on both incidents. But at the end of the day, if you're not here legally, or somebody in your car is not here legally, that's where doesn't it always start with that? Because I've been pulled over many times in my life, and it's yes, sir, yes, ma'am, whether I feel like I've done something wrong or not. And I don't understand why it always has to escalate, and, that's the problem. And it always starts with something that's, somebody either is a criminal, or even if they weren't a criminal, they get pulled over. I'm not getting out of the car. The Supreme Court says you have to, ma'am.
Yeah, no
By the
kidding.
way, shameless plug. I'm going to do it. I do a podcast now called Vegas Crime Files. Vegas Crime Files. Very cool. One of the, it's all first person stuff. It's not me reading you a Google story. And one of the episodes I did was with a guy who was spent many years as a traffic sergeant. And he explained what you have to do when they pull you over, what they have to do when they pull you over, because they have obligations. You have obligations as a citizen. And if everybody does what they're supposed to do, it's amazing how these things don't escalate to somebody dying. I'm just saying. So check that out if you get a chance. Vegas Crime Files. It's on the Audacy app or anywhere you get podcasts. I think it's like episode number 2 or something, but it's great information if you've ever been anywhere you live in the country. It's really important to know that, because people say, I don't have to get out of the car. Yes, you do. Now you don't have to let people search your car. The police can't search your car without a warrant. Nobody's saying that. But if they say you have to get out of the car, that's what the Supreme Court says you have to do.
Right.
And they may put you in handcuffs for a second. Sometimes they put you in handcuffs just because you've got 2 or 3 or 4 people in the car and they're trying to sort out who's who and they're not real sure. And they take the handcuffs off and you go on your merry way. Well, sometimes that happens.
Yeah, and the thing is if you are wrongfully arrested, wrongfully detained, then you do have legal recourse at the end of that, and you can sue the pants off of them.
Right.
And so what you can do, and this is always my advice that I give, is just comply with the officers. Make note of what's going on. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to be belligerent. Take note of what's going on. And then if you were wrongfully detained, hire a lawyer and sue them. And then you will be rich and not dead.
Great advice from Brad Range.
I mean,
you're right about that. As my traffic sergeant friend said, you're not going to win an argument on the side of the road.
Nope.
That's not going to happen. And you're exactly right, Brad. If you feel you've been wronged, and listen, we all know there are cops. I had a cop go crazy on me one time for zero reason. I won't go into that whole story, but screaming at me, and I'm not kidding, I'd done nothing. And I think he had a ride along with him. He was trying to be a tough guy, and he was screaming at me, "Have you ever been arrested?" I was literally sitting in traffic. And he was sitting behind me for long enough to have run my plates and everything. And of course, he doesn't know I'm driving. It could have been someone else screaming at me. And I've done ride-alongs with the cops. I went through the police officers, the Citizens Academy. Not that makes me an expert, but I know what a traffic stop's supposed to look like. And he had no reason to be yelling at me like he was. And
right.
But you know what I did? I was just like hanging my hands out on the window, side of the window. I was terrified because I thought, I got to calm him down. Now it's my job to calm him down. And I should have reported him because he was so out of line. And as it turned out, he didn't give me a ticket because, hey, I hadn't done anything. But I just took it upon myself to go, I'm going to be the one who has to de-escalate this. Because this guy is a give me a reason cop. How many of them are out there? Not many. But there are some. We're all acknowledging that. But once again, in that situation, because I knew this guy would throw me over the hood of my car. I just knew it. And I was like,
Oh,
I
for
don't
sure.
want to get. Yeah, and I could just tell. So I calmed him down instead of, why are you talking to me like this? No, I've never been arrested. It's none of your business, which I never have been. But all the stuff, I was like, why are you doing that? I didn't say anything. It was, yes, sir. Shut my mouth, had my hands where he could see them. I was crazy the way he did that. But my point being, I've been in that situation. So whose job is it at that point? If you get a bad cop, it's your job, it seems to me, to be calm, and then it won't escalate, right?
Right. And whenever I was in high school, I was playing indoor soccer, and I was on my way home from a soccer game, and I had me, my brother, and one other friend who was on the team in the car, and we were driving home. When we drove through Freeburg, we drove through the middle of Freeburg, and I saw this cop, and he made eye contact with me, and I said, oh, no, we're going to get pulled over. Didn't know why. I mean, we were obeying the traffic laws, get pulled over, and
You
then
look
this...
shady. Admit it.
Well, here's the thing. He pulled me over. I was in soccer gear, shorts and, socks and whatnot, and pulls me out, and it's middle of January. I'm cold. We had just finished eating from Taco Bell and all this other stuff. And the police officer's like, we got to report that your car was drag racing. And we went through this whole rigmarole about it, and I was like, I wasn't drag racing. I mean, that's a 79 Ford Thunderbird. It's slow. I wasn't drag racing. So I wouldn't admit it. He pulled us apart, split us all up, had us out there. I think the whole ordeal probably took 30 minutes while he was trying to get a confession out of us. And then he looks at me at the very end and he goes, is your car white or is it yellow? And I said, that's a white car. And he goes,
what?
He goes, oh, the report was for a yellow car. So my car matched the description.
Grr.
And they were sure that it was me, and it wasn't me because my car is slow.
Well, what did he do? Racially? You had to call racial profiling on
No,
that?
not racial. He was ageist.
No, I'm going to say
picking on me because I was 17.
Well, but see, here's the thing. Instead of being a smart rear end, I don't want to use the word.
Right.
A smart aleck in that situation, you kept your mouth shut, you behaved correctly, and nothing bad happened.
Right.
Yes, sir. No problem. We'll get this sorted out. Thank you very much, sir. And you go on your happy way.
Right. I didn't do anything other than deny the allegations against me that were untrue.
Right. Even if a guy just had a fight with his wife, even if whatever, I'm a believer that you can de-escalate things if you act appropriately in that situation. So I don't want to see ICE not have the ability to pull people over now if they're sure who's in there is illegal. That's not good. Brother. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey.
You feel it every time you check out. Prices up, paychecks stretched, families squeezed. That's why Ann Wagner's fighting to get government off your back and out of your way. Wagner passed the largest tax cut in American history, expanded child tax credits, ended taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. And Wagner is working to lower costs so families keep more of their hard-earned money. But Ann Wagner knows delivering from Missouri means more than just protecting their wallets. It means protecting our streets as well. That's why Wagner fought to secure our border, deport dangerous illegal aliens, partner with law enforcement, and put predators behind bars and off our streets so our neighborhoods and communities stay safe. Because real effective leadership protects what matters most: your money, your family, your safety. Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
When it comes to selling your home, the agent you choose matters more than anything. Hey, it's Mark Cox. I'm with my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria, what should sellers really be looking for in an agent?
Thank you. You're going to select a realtor with a proven system. Someone who knows how to price your home right, create strong demand, negotiate for top dollar, and guarantee results. I see it all the time. Last year, hundreds of homes in St. Louis came off the market unsold sold and needed multiple price reductions. That's what happens when the right strategy isn't in place. I do things differently. My focus is to help you sell for the most money possible, not just to list your home and hope it sells. Plus, I even guarantee to sell your home for 100% market value, or I'll pay you the difference.
Make sure you choose the right agent the first time. Call the one I trust, Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46, and I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Your coffee would never get cold. Your flight would always be on time. And your mattress would always respond to you and your unique sleep needs. Sleep Number mattresses are designed to respond to your body and shift with your changing life, helping you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number. To a good life sleep.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
From the president, Lisa Brady, Fox News. He's backing away from a plan to charge a fee as reimbursement for securing a critical waterway.
The president says he abandoned a plan to charge a fee on cargo in the Strait of Hormuz after speaking with several Middle Eastern leaders. Instead, President Trump says a 20% fee will be replaced with trade and investment deals with Gulf partners.
And I like that, actually, because I don't think anybody should be able to charge a fee for the strait.
Iran says it will control the strait and has targeted commercial vessels.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. 2 hours from now, a U.S. blockade of Iranian shipping will resume. President Trump says he does not regret lifting it.
I wanted to give them a chance at making a deal. You know, we had a deal 2 days ago. It was done. And then all of a sudden, they couldn't do it. They didn't like something about the deal. They couldn't do it. And they shot first, and that was a big mistake that they shot first because we have been knocking the hell out of them.
In return, Iran keeps attacking Gulf neighbors as well as commercial ships. The United Arab Emirates threatening to strike back after attacks on tankers left 2 mariners dead and 14 others wounded. President Trump's comments coming during an Oval Office meeting with Iraq's new prime minister, focusing in part on plans to disarm Iran-linked militia groups in Iraq before remaining U.S. troops withdraw, now expected to finish by the end of September. The president also highlighting the latest inflation report, consumer prices falling in June. But new Fed Chair Kevin Warsh tells a House hearing that's one data point.
The reason I create a task force on data is I don't want to overread or cherry pick data. There might be some that look at this morning's data and say, oh, mission accomplished, everything is swell. That is not my view.
Warsh also says no more hints before Fed decisions on interest rates. A drop in gas prices contributing to last month's inflation decline, but oil and gas have since been back on the rise. America is listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46, and I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions require.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
No complaints with our weather going through our Tuesday afternoon. Sunny skies, still relatively comfortable for this time of year. 89-90 for the high. Tonight, clear skies, 72 for the overnight low. Wednesday, sunny skies, a slow increase in the humidity. Wednesday afternoon, 91. Thursday and Friday, feeling a little more like summer. It's sunny. It's kind of hot and kind of humid. 93 each day. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 56 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance and installation, and heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. AirComfortService.com.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. Good afternoon. Always fun hanging out with some of my favorite people, including Brad Range. Are you Brad Range?
I'm never going to live that down.
No, you're not. No, because I thought it was cool. We were talking about how people recognize you in public, and it's pretty darn cool. And coming up in a bit, actually this hour, Ethan's going to be joining us. Jordan Walker, whoop, 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 whoop. He's going to have the details on that, winning the home run derby and all of that. They'll be coming up a little bit later in this hour. Very excited about that. We're also going to talk about Iran. The strait's open, the strait's not open. We're going to charge people. We're not going to charge people. I'm confused as to what's even happening. Brent Sadler joins us. He's from the Allison Center for National Security at the Heritage Foundation. He's a senior research fellow and a naval warfare and advanced technology expert. Glad to have you on the Annie Frey Show. Welcome, Brent.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today.
Hey, glad to have you. Now, since I started getting ready for the show this morning, and between the time I started getting ready and the time the show started, now we're not going to charge people to go through the strait. Please help me out. I can't keep track.
So it's I wouldn't say that the idea is dead necessarily, but clearly as a question of legality, of course, there's a very stark difference between what the Iranians were doing, where they were basically saying, pay us or else. So it was compelled on international neutral shipping in international waters, totally illegal, kind of like a mobster would do. What President Trump offered was, hey, look, if we're going to provide security, if you're going to participate with us and you want our security, there's going to have to be some kind of fee so we can sustain that. Not compelled, not an obligation. You can participate, and if you don't, well, it's at your own risk. That's actually legal. And there's lots of ways to do kind of like the payment in kind. That could even be via the insurance companies that do the shippers actually go through. But it also looks like some of our Gulf allies and partners there, like Kuwait, UAE, and Saudi Arabia, they're looking at making big investments and billions of dollars into the United States. And they're saying, can we offset the cost it is for you by investing more in the United States, where it's a win-win for everybody. They get a long-term investment in the United States. We get more jobs, more industrial, and maybe even some other kind of like good benefits in the investment over here.
It's so confusing, and it's so important for the entire world that the Strait of Hormuz be uninterrupted.
Yes, more so for some of our key Asian allies. The Europeans, most of their oil can bypass the Strait of Hormuz now, except for natural gas. There's a pipeline in Saudi Arabia that goes from the Persian Gulf over to the Red Sea, far north of the Houthis, which are starting to become a problem down there in Yemen. And they just the Europeans can get their crude oil without too much of a problem now. But not so much for natural gas. And certainly our Asian allies like South Korea and Japan, Philippines, Australia, well, they're in a bit of a pickle because theirs has to go past some dangerous choke points.
Yeah, what a mess. I mean, and the thing is, 1 minute we're controlling it, 1 minute we're not. That's what's also been confusing for a lot of people.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's totally understandable. I mean, maritime law of the sea, maritime issues, it's usually over the horizon, literally and figuratively, for most people's concerns. I mean, we've had a few years in the recovery from COVID. People are starting to realize how important shipping is and having functioning ports. But now we've got warfare from Ukraine in the Black Sea, the Houthis in the Red Sea, and now the Persian Gulf. I mean, I think it's now become common day discussion. So I think more and more people are realizing the world is connected across the oceans. And that's the only way we're going to be able to, by protecting that, we protect our economy and livelihood. So
Absolutely.
It's become very real, I think.
And the economy and livelihood of other countries are some of our allies, which is really important. We're speaking with Brent Sadler. He's from the Heritage Foundation. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. So what have we been blowing up the last couple of days? I got to tell you, I'm thrilled to see this happening. I don't like to see things blown up, but I was very concerned a couple of weeks ago that Trump just did not understand Islam. And apparently, for whatever reason, now he seems to understand who he's dealing with. I'm thrilled about that. I've lost track of all the things we've blown up over the last couple of days. Tell me what's happening.
Well, when it's the bad guys, I have no problem with them blowing up. And right now, there's been a lot of bad guys getting blown up along the Strait of Hormuz. So things like radar sites, launch pads for missiles, roadways that these missile launchers and drone launching trucks drive along, as well as taking out the drones. There was a really remarkable attack also where we used 3 unmanned drone boats to go in and attack a port facility with a submarine that was on top of repair facility and supposedly destroyed it. Something that you've seen and people have gotten used to seeing in Ukraine. And we basically took a page out of the Ukrainian playbook and played it against the Iranians. So it's pretty remarkable stuff going on, but bad guys are blowing up, thankfully.
Well, that's good. Once again, Brent Sadler here from the Heritage Foundation. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. Question, there's a lot of information, I'm sure, and technology that they are testing and that they are learning from as a result of what's happening in Iran. And can you talk a little bit about that?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it actually predates this current conflict with Iran. So back in December last year, the U.S. Army reverse engineered the Iranian Shahed drones, the ones they were given to the Russians, launched against the Ukrainians. Looks like a little A-wing looking thing with a propeller. Well, we reverse engineered that thing in a period of months and then have been launching waves of these things into Iran. We're playing the game back on them, low cost, very dangerous, hard to kind of manage when you have a lot of them coming in. And then this thing with the small drone boats. So clearly the U.S. military is learning quickly, adapting, and is not so proud that it's not going to take on the lessons and apply the tactics of some of our other partners and adversaries.
Yeah, I used to be an honorary commander for many years out at Nellis Air Force Base, where with the 422nd, where they test tactics all day long. This is what they do. Mm-hmm. And I interviewed a general who was talking about one of these bombs that went down into the mountain. I think it was the AMU he was talking about. And he said he was there to watch it. This is all unclassified. He was there to watch it. And he said they put a traffic cone on top of the mountain. They dropped the AMU and the traffic cone split in half. That's how accurate these things are. But they've been testing these things knowing they were going to need these for a very long period of time. And I think about my friends who are still out there testing the tactics, and they test them in the desert and all these things. And this is why we do it, because of these kind of situations.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. I mean, defense and security, when you need it, it makes it all worthwhile to have made the investments over years, both in people, training, fuel, and material, and all the science that goes into making sure you stay the best. Because loss, you can't recover from a defeat.
That is so true. Now, what do we think is going to happen here? Is Iran finally going to acquiesce? I mean, the difference, of course, between Iran and other countries, they don't care how many people they lose. They have a different goal in mind. I mean, they could stick their one arm out of the ground and call that a victory, right? It's just a whole different way of thinking. But what do you think is going to happen here? What's the end game?
Well, it's going to be, it's too hard to tell, looking way out. I mean, the goal should be a new government, a regime that's in Tehran that's more responsive to its people. The nature of the regime has to change. It's the only way we're going to be able to have a peaceful Middle East and a peaceful relationship with Iran. I mean, if we've got the same kind of vicious, terroristic kind of regime and they're just different names, we're going to have this problem again. So that's the long goal. But in the next couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months on the outside of this, I think by destroying the last threats to shipping in the Straits of Hormuz, that effectively eliminates any leverage the Iranians have in negotiations or in conflict with us, threatening that shipping. Once we take that away, they'll become a lot more pliable and I think a lot more agreeable to making a deal because they don't have anything to trade anymore. And any position of strength, we just eliminated.
That's a good point. Now, I remember hearing a couple of weeks ago, there was a lot of talk about Carg Island and their ability to refine oil. And if they couldn't refine oil, that eventually they'd have to cap off these oil wells, and then they'd never be able to get them. Talk a little bit about that, because that's important.
Yeah. There's two things there. So the refining is, taking the crude oil and then basically processing into jet fuel, kerosene, diesel fuel, gasoline like you put in your car. That's what the Ukrainians are doing. They've been going after the Russians there. And you're right. You take that away, you got a problem, because you can't get usable energy or gas. Carg Island does have some refining, but its vast majority of it is just the crude oil goes there. They store it in these tanks, and they load it onto ships. And something like 90% of all their outbound petroleum trade, which is like 90% of their economy, their export economy, goes through Carg Island. But if you come out of Carg Island, you still have to sail a ship through the Straits of Hormuz and go out that way. So you still got a problem there. So if you bottle up the Strait of Hormuz, you bottle up Carg Island and everything else.
And you can't get the oil out of there. So then there you have no place to put the oil that you're getting out of the ground. And at that point, would they have to cap the oil?
That's right. And that's what was getting ready to happen. They may have started to cap some of their wells, but clearly as the ceasefire was going on and the blockade was in effect, it was clear that they were having to make a decision in Iran to start capping the wells. And when you cap the well, you start getting water intrusion inside. And it's not like simply like turning on a faucet in your sink. It's like, I'll turn off the oil and then turn it back on. You actually have a process that you have to go through. And sometimes you have damage in the well that you have to fix before you can start to resume. So it's not an immediate recovery. And that was in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, that was my understanding, was one of the aspects too. And what's so funny is that we can escalate anytime we want to, because we know where all this stuff is. The fact that we haven't blown it up today doesn't mean we're not going to blow it up next week. And that's what they're finding out, that we have more resolve than they planned on.
That's correct. I think the key right now is going to be eliminating any Iranian threat to shipping through the Straits of Hormuz from like places like Bandar Abbas to another port city called Chabahar. So this is on the outside, towards the Arabian Sea side of the Straits of Hormuz, and right there. And that's where the U.S. Navy is executing a lot of its interdictions and threats to enforce the blockade. Because you basically got the cap in the top of the bottle. You pretty much have everything inside the bottle like at your control. And that's what's happening right now, and why this blockade was able to be turned on so quickly.
Yeah, here we are hundreds of years later. We're still fighting the pirates, aren't we? It never goes away. I just read a book recently about Captain Kidd and all those guys, in the 1600s and all the piracy. I mean, nothing changes, does it, Brent? Nothing.
No. Human nature is human nature. It's just maybe you go from sails to actually ships with diesel engines and gas turbines and nuclear power.
Right.
So, yeah.
Same attitude. Brent Sadler, Heritage Foundation. Thanks for joining the Annie Frey Show. Great talking to you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Good to have you. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Annie Frey.
Home Shield Foundation Repair is a local business, and it's owned by Matt Hayes. This family-owned business right here, built from the ground up in St. Louis. That's the place to call for your foundation repair concerns, your needs, your wants. You've got a guy you can trust in Matt Hayes, and he's one of us. He's from here. 314-271-9900. And when you talk to Matt Hayes about the basement waterproofing concerns you might have, maybe it's uneven concrete. Maybe you've noticed that dreaded kind of spidering in the paint in your home, or the plaster, it's gone to a crack, and gosh, we've got some issues here with the foundation that need to be looked at. Need to find out if it's something that's progressing, if it's maybe something that's been brewing for quite a bit. Home Shield Foundation Repair can help you get to the bottom of it and get these problems solved the right way the first time. 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. Call Home Shield Foundation Repair and tell them Annie sent you. Online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. I'm with Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage, and if you're thinking about refinancing, he has some great advice.
Mark, this is a great time to refinance. If you financed over the last 3 years, you're probably paying a higher rate. Take advantage now. Refinance with the Bagel Loan. No closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, nothing. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. For those of you folks that are waiting on the sideline saying, hey, maybe the rates will go down more, I'm going to wait. Take advantage now. A bird in the hand's better than two in the bush. Refinance, get the cash out you need, get a lower rate, maybe even go from a 30 to a 20 year and keep that payment the same. All with the Bagel Loan.
This is a quick process, right?
We close in 10 days. We send a notary out to your house to close so you don't have to take off any time from work. It's easy. It's simple. Bing, bang, boom. Your home is the biggest investment you're going to make in your life. Deal with somebody local, somebody has a reputation, somebody has accountability. I'm here in town. You can call me or text me after hours, weekends, whenever it's convenient for you.
Call or text Stewie at 314-324-4440 or Google the Bagel Loan. NMLS number 226715.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Annie Frey is St. Louis conservative.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. Good afternoon. You can follow me on all the socials, Heidi Harris Show, Heidi Harris Show, Heidi Harris Show. And don't forget to check out my new podcast. It's called Vegas Crime Files. It's all firsthand accounts of some very infamous crimes that have occurred in Vegas. And you can check it out anywhere you get podcasts, including, of course, the Audacy app. Did you see this horrible incident over the weekend with this girl, a teenage girl and her boyfriend killed a bunch of relatives? Did you see that, Brad?
Wait, the teen and her boyfriend killed
her boyfriend, who were like, her boyfriend's 16, she's 15.
Oh
they
my
killed
gosh.
5 people, shot 7 total.
No, I haven't seen this.
Okay, so this happened in East St. Louis. So here's the thing that's crazy about it, okay? This girl's 15 years old, and apparently she had, been a problem teenager, had run away and stolen her mother's gun. All right. Now, mother and father not living in the same house, shocker. I mean, most always that's the case. Anyway, I'm not blaming the parents, but anyway, here's the thing though, that bothered me about it. She killed 5 people. They killed 5 family members, from 74 on down in age. Terrible. But here's the thing that I got stuck on when I was reading the story. Marcus May is his daughter. Okay. He said the mother of his 15-year-old daughter called him early one morning last week to say their daughter had run away and stolen her gun. Okay, I mentioned that. Here's the important thing, though. Their daughter also was in a group chat with her 16-year-old boyfriend and other teens where they talked about killing her family members. Now, I don't know about you, Brad. I don't know what kind of family you're living in. I don't know what kind of family this man was living in, and it's awful, and it's tragic, and it's terrible, and my heart goes out to him. But if somebody did that in my family, I would call someone.
Yeah.
He said he didn't take the news of the chat very seriously, and he didn't think the teens would actually do anything. Well, in fairness to him, nobody does. Think your 15 or 16-year-old daughter is going, she's 15, her boyfriend's 16. But here's what's insane about it. If there's a group chat, I don't want to beat this guy up, but this is important, guys, because maybe a phone call would have helped. If there's a group chat and she's 15 and she took the gun, maybe she's serious in the group chat when she talks about killing her family, right? I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, it doesn't even matter if I thought she was serious or not. If she stole my gun and she's 15, I'm calling the police.
Right.
Why does she need, why does she need it? Whatever the case may be, she shouldn't have it. I'm calling the police.
And like I said, I'm not laying this on the parents because it's the daughter who did this, but I'm just wondering, and I clearly I don't know, but I'm wondering if a phone call would have made a difference. That's all.
Yeah, maybe.
But this, by the way, this whole here's, because most of the time, almost without exception, when something like this happens, somebody knows something. Okay. So once again, this is Tuesday morning. This is Tuesday morning last week. And this didn't happen until the weekend. So days and days of lead time went by with nobody calling the police that I could tell, unless I missed something. Apparently this girl was living in East St. Louis, getting into trouble at school. Her mom pulled her out of school to homeschool her. Daughter was angry about the decision. I'm quoting some of this in the Post-Dispatch. She'd gotten in trouble and for running away and stealing her mother's debit card. I mean, some kids are just jerks. I mean, I've been a bratty teenage girl. I didn't do this kind of stuff, but I was a bratty teenage girl. But once again, she stole the gun. But how many days did we have before, when I don't know that the police could have stopped her. I don't know that the police could have found her. I don't know any of this. But can I just be honest, guys? If somebody in your family is having a group chat and talking about killing family members, you might just want to, I don't know what you do, but you might want to at least call the cops.
Well, I mean, there's a group chat. I don't know that I have ever heard anybody in my family say anything like talking about killing family members outside of, oh man, I'm going to kill him. But like you know what I'm saying? In that,
right.
I forget what the right word is, phrase, you know that they're not serious in the way that they say it, but to be putting that in a group chat, talking about murdering them or whatever, that, I don't know, that's all sorts of red flags. And I don't think that's something that I would keep to myself.
Yeah. Right. That's the thing. I don't understand why somebody didn't, and I don't want to blame the victims, but once again, how would you, I guess you can't feel if you're a victim. A couple of them survived, but even the people who survived, wouldn't you ask your family member, well, if you knew last week they were threatening to kill us, why didn't you tell us?
Right.
Right? No, brother. It's just sad. I mean, this girl's obviously really, really out of control. We had a young girl in Vegas a couple of years ago whose mother had been a Republican politician at one time, and won't bore you with all the details other than to say that she wanted to be with her boyfriend and sliced and diced her dad, and then they were laughing about it, and they were in bed on video laughing about it, blah, blah, blah. I mean, they were yucking it up while their dad sliced and diced. I believe, I'm trying to remember, I think they tried to set him on fire too. It's just insane. So you don't know what teenagers are going to do. Some of them are just flat out, capable of anything at this point.
Crazy.
It is crazy. And this poor guy, I feel bad for him, but I'm just wondering once again, why did you call somebody? So, because one thing is, I'm not trying to pick on a victim of a crime, but whenever there's any kind of a crime, the first thing I do is look at how it happened and how I can avoid having it happen to me.
Right.
Right. That's what we're looking here for. We're not trying to pick on somebody. We're saying, okay, like if you go into a frat house as a young girl and you go get drunk in the frat house and you get completely out of control and something goes awry, and I'll just leave it there. I'm looking for, how did this happen? You might not want to get drunk around a bunch of people who might also be drunk and have no judgment. Right.
Right.
So how do we prevent this? We tell our daughters not to get drunk in frat houses. Just saying. Right. I'm looking for prevention. I'm looking to stop the next one. And then people will say, oh, you're blaming the victim. No. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm only blaming the perpetrator. But I, as a potential victim of something, am looking at how I cannot have it happen to me, right? If you leave your laptop on the front seat of your car and somebody steals it, people will say, well, why'd you leave it on the front seat of your car? But if something happens to you and your behavior has been such that you put yourself in a vulnerable position, nobody will say anything about that because you're blaming the victim. Well, I'm always looking for solutions here. And you got to tell your daughters not to do this. Tell your sons, of course, not to do that. If somebody's on a group chat talking about killing your family, you might want to call the police. That's all I'm saying. And if he did, I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I see no evidence of that, anything I've read about it. And that just breaks my heart for everybody involved. But in this day and age, teenagers are crazy nowadays. I mean, there are times, and this girl clearly had stolen her mom's credit card, frequent runaway. Kids today, not all kids clearly, but there are kids today who will, and always have been, but it seems more prevalent today, who will do things that we wouldn't have dreamed of doing. We had our issues with our parents when we were teenagers and whatnot, but I never thought about doing that. But you don't know. Some people are capable of a lot of things, and that's what's sad about it. Anyway, crazy. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey.
Is it time to make the dreaded service call because your AC isn't working right? I know it's not like the best part of your day or your week, but it is a situation where you want to have your air conditioner working the way it's supposed to be so that you're paying to power that sucker. You want to make sure that your house is being cooled into your comfort zone. I want you to call Air Comfort Service at 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. There's never a great time for your AC to go out, especially in the dead of a St. Louis summer. But Air Comfort Service is going to be there to help you out and get you back up and running in no time. If your AC stops working at night, over a weekend, a holiday, Air Comfort Service offers 24/7 emergency service. You can call a company you can trust, that I trust in my home. I've made this phone call, and I encourage you to trust them as well. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. Take my word for it or don't. Go look up all of the rewards and the great reviews for Air Comfort Service. They are the best. Find them online. All the details at aircomfortservice.com.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
Things in Washington, D.C. may seem unsettled at times by their lack of progress. But one department in the U.S. government is progressing. That is the IRS. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS is in full function to collect on unpaid taxes. If you've been putting off a tax problem, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and get it resolved. Don't think the government is too busy to focus on my issues. Too many of my clients thought the same. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Remember, if you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Lance Story Law Firm. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Or call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceStoryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: have the Cardinals got their groove back? We're asking you, we want to know what you think. Jordan Walker won the home run derby last night in dramatic fashion, and it seems like this team has a new confidence, a new swagger. Is that Cardinals swagger back? We want to know. You can text us at 314-241-9797, or you can leave us a comment on Annie's YouTube live stream and vote in the poll there. Let us know. What do you think, and why do you think it? The time is 1:32. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. Where common sense rules the mic. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Hold up. Check it out. Sports and local.
Friendly Ethan gives soothing menthol-voiced story readings.
He's not afraid.
joins us, Ethan Hannaford. I couldn't wait to hear what you had to say today. I could not wait to hear what you have to say about Jordan Walker. So excited.
You know, if you're getting a Santa Maria call out of Matt Vasgersian, that it is a big moment. And last night was about as big of a moment that St. Louis sports has experienced probably since Albert hit his 700th home run. And prior to that, I would say since the Stanley Cup Finals. That was an electric night last night in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at Citizens Bank Park. Jordan Walker becomes the first St. Louis Cardinal to win a home run derby. As crazy as it sounds, he was the 14th Cardinal, I believe. Or 14, it was the 14th different time that a Cardinal had competed, 13th or 14th. But only one had made it to the finals prior. Jordan Walker becomes the first to win it, and in very dramatic fashion. There were a lot of things that made last night oh so exciting, but the way in which it ended was most certainly the most notable part. Jordan Walker facing off against Kyle Schwarber, who plays for the Philadelphia Phillies. If you are not a sports fan, then let me just give you an idea as to how brutal Philadelphia fans are. A lot of booing, a lot of emotion, a lot of ridiculous trash talk. They are often referred to as the worst fans in sports, but it was on a night like this where you could argue they became the best fans in sports because they lived up to the moment and they made the moment that much more intense. Booing Jordan Walker, pulling for Kyle Schwarber as the rounds went on. It added a whole new level to the Derby that we haven't really seen before. And Jordan Walker was down to his final several swings. In the final round, each player got 15 swings. So it wasn't time-based like it has been in the past. It wasn't outs-based. It was you get 15 swings. How many home runs can you hit in those 15 swings? The only way to get more than 15 is if on your last technical swing, you continue to hit a home run. Well, Jordan Walker, with 6 swings remaining, had, I believe, well, that would have been 6 home runs. 6 home runs. He hits home runs in his final 3 swings. So now he is at, or no, would have been final 2 swings. I'm sorry. So now he's at 8 home runs with 1 swing remaining. So he has to continue hitting a home run in order to survive, to try and get to a tiebreaker. Hits the first one to center field. He's at 9 home runs. Takes a couple of pitches. Hits one to left, 10 home runs. Takes 2 more pitches. Hits another one and ties it. And then after taking 1 more pitch, Jordan Walker won the home run derby with a massive crowd booing him. It was a Hollywood moment. It was a storybook ending. There's a lot of people out there, including Barry Bonds, the greatest home run hitter of all time, calling it one of the greatest home run derby performances in baseball history. And it certainly puts an exclamation point on this Cardinals first half of the season that has been just filled with youth and vibrance and emotion coming from one of the youngest rosters in Major League Baseball. What a fun evening last night was, guys.
I thought it was
How
cool.
Yeah, it was.
Was it St. Louis and Ryan Howard came up and put a big old chain around Jordan Walker's neck after he won that? It was something to behold, and I think it's still up on Netflix. So if you missed it, you can go back and watch it on Netflix and watch the whole thing if you want to experience it. But this is how I came up with the poll question for today, because I watched that and there was a different attitude, that the Cardinals players are carrying themselves in a way that I haven't seen in years. And so that's why the poll question is do you think the Cardinals have gotten their groove back? Yes or no? When I'm talking about the groove, I don't know that this team will make the playoffs, but is that Cardinals attitude back? Ethan, what do you think?
I think that what we have seen the past 3 months is very much so, as I mentioned just a moment ago, a team that is not concerned about outside expectations, is just focusing on the craft and doing what makes them good, playing to their advantage, which is that young attitude that they have where regardless of how last night's game went, yesterday's game went, we're going to flush it and we're going to play ball with that same energy. And I think that it's something that Ollie Marmol and his staff have done a really good job of. Listen, this is the first manager that most of these players have ever had. And you know from past experiences that players buy in to Ollie Marmol because guys like Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, if a manager is full of it, they're going to be able to pick up on that very quickly. They're going to know that. When you have veterans that buy in, you know that young players are going to buy in on the process. And they have been able to set this clubhouse and this culture the way in which they want it. And it has completely impacted the way in which games are being played, in which the team carries themselves. So yes, Brad, I would say that to a certain extent, the Cardinals are back. And like you said, I don't know if it means that this is going to be a playoff team, but 2026 was supposed to be a rebuilding year for this team where I would argue that the optimism was still relatively low, even with Heimblum coming in. And I think people being more long-term optimistic that they were moving in the right direction finally and committing to a rebuild by trading all of those stars that they had acquired over the past several years, this past offseason. They had committed to that, but people weren't excited about this year specifically. It was almost like, all right, you just got to get through 2026. Yeah. Well, what have we seen in 2026 so far? We have seen the emergence of a 1 through 4 in this lineup that is just as good as any in baseball. We have seen J.J. Weatherholt, the Cardinals' shiny prospect, their shiny new toy, be good enough to earn an 8-year, $112 million contract extension that will keep him here until 2034.
That was huge, and you talked last week about what a deal you thought that was for the team financially.
Excellent deal for the team. I think that's going to play out extremely well. We have seen, what else have we seen? We've seen, the big one being Jordan Walker. The other big one being Jordan Walker. We have seen a guy that in his first 3 seasons at the major league level do a lot more failing than succeeding. Hit barely over 200 in 2024 and 2025 combined, get sent down to the minors multiple times to try and correct the swing and figure things out. Him put it together, not just to be having a solid season, but to be talking about this guy being an MVP caliber player. And then for him to put an exclamation point on that with what he did last night, it very much so, I think, continues to stir something within the fan base that the team already knew was there. But I think that more and more fans are now coming to realize, there's reason to go back to the ballpark now. There's stars in the making there that are worth me putting in my money to go sit down and watch. So, yes, I do think that the Cardinals are on their way back. I'm not going to go ahead and say that this team is a playoff team right now, but they have 100% built a foundation that is going to be able to set them up for success in the next several years to come. A lot to be excited about if you're a Cardinals fan right now.
Yeah, and then very exciting. Then you got 4 Cardinals players on the All-Star team.
3 Cardinals players in the All-Star game tonight, and then their manager, Ollie Marmol, is on the coaching staff. So 4 Cardinals, 3 players. Ollie Marmol is joining Dave Roberts' staff, which is a great honor. In the past, I don't know when they started this, but usually the team that wins the pennant, the NL and AL pennant, their coaching staffs represent that side in the All-Star game. So I don't know if that's a new thing where they bring in other coaches. I don't know how many other coaches, but it is pretty cool to see Ollie Marmol being there, and he deserves it because up to this point, in my opinion, he's a runaway for National League Manager of the Year. It's not even close. But then Jordan Walker will be competing in the All-Star game tonight. I cannot imagine the amount of boos that he is going to get when he comes up to the plate, and I imagine he's going to love every single second of it. There was a quote last night. His dad, during the post-game interview, had an awesome quote about. Do you have that quote?
I have a clip of Jordan Walker saying it.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a great. That's a great quote.
40,000 people boo you. I was once told you don't boo nobody, so it feels pretty good. Yeah.
You don't boo nobodies.
Don't boo nobodies.
And
That's so
that is
good.
right. You do not boo nobodies. So Jordan Walker has arrived, and then Ivan Herrera will be playing tonight as well as a designated hitter for the National League, and then Riley O'Brien, the Cardinals closer, who is near the top of the league in saves. I'm not sure if he holds that title at the moment. Has 24 on the year, is also going to be competing tonight. So it would not surprise me if he got to pitch, especially with Marmol being on the coaching staff. So it's going to be another fun night. It's going to be hard to top last night, but it should be another fun night for Cardinals fans.
Yeah, so you're saying tune in.
Yeah,
tune in,
for
absolutely.
Sure. And I saw a story about Herrera that when he was a kid, when he was 14 or 15 years old, he was told he couldn't play baseball. He didn't have the power, he didn't have the physique, and this and that. And I love these stories that here's where he was and here's where he is now.
Yeah, you're learning that, that there's a lot of people out there that at some point that were told at one point in their lives that, hey, you can't do it. It is, such a small fraction of people that actually play the game make it to the promised land, and let alone get to compete in an all-star game. Right. Just getting drafted, just getting signed by a minor league team means that you are one of the best of the best. But to be able to get to the point that they have, it shows the work ethic, the amount of time that they've put in, the dedication that not only they have put in, their families as well. All three of those Cardinals players' families were there last night. Obviously, you saw a lot of footage of Jordan Walker's parents, his dad going ballistic, but also Ivan Herrera's mom was there from Panama, as well as Riley O'Brien's family. So there's a lot of sacrifice that is put in to be able to get these guys to the pinnacle of the game. And let's hope that now all three of these guys have long and very illustrious careers at the major league level. So you'll be able to watch them tonight in the All-Star game at Citizens Bank Park at 7 o'clock, pregame beginning at 5:30 on Fox. So should be a lot of fun to watch our Cardinals compete in the All-Star game tonight.
That'll be very cool. Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you, Heidi Harris.
It's a very exciting night last night. It's always fun to come in and talk about exciting things instead of some of the things you've had to talk about before when they've lost several games in a row and things like that.
Absolutely. Well, it stands out. This is a very notable time in St. Louis sports for the Cardinals. It's been a bumpy couple of years. I would argue probably a bumpy couple 6-ish years in St. Louis sports. So to be getting back to knowing that winning, consistent winning, like we've experienced for, in large part, the past quarter century, I would say even beyond that, it's good to know that getting back to those winning ways is on the horizon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you.
I'm Heidi Harris, in for Annie Frey.
Hey, it's Scott Jennings, and what does America mean to me here on our 250th birthday? The future of Western civilization, the future of human liberty. That is what is at stake in our world right now.
America 250 is sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Stewart's American Mortgage is the home of the bagel loan. And Stewie calls it a bagel loan because bagels look like zeros. That's to remind you that when you go and get that mortgage refinanced or even a brand new mortgage and you use the bagel loan at Stewart's American Mortgage, you don't have to worry about paying any closing costs. None. There are no closing costs when you use a bagel loan to get your next mortgage. It's with Stewie, who I have twice been a bagel loan customer myself. When you call 314-324-4440 or text 314-324-4440, say, hey, Stewie, Annie said something about a bagel loan. I'd be curious to see if it works for me, or whatever you want, and get the process started. Once you get going, he can give you closing documents in 2 weeks or less. It's pretty incredible. And he's going to help you navigate the best situation for you in your mortgage pursuit. So call him or text him at 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
When's the last time you gave your home's exterior a little love? Hi, it's Kim, and if your siding is cracking, it's fading, or just doesn't stand up to our St. Louis weather, it's time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design, because they're experts in James Hardy siding, which is this durable, low-maintenance option, and it looks beautiful. Plus, you have customizable colors and textures, and so you can give your home a completely new look while protecting it for decades. Don't wait until the small problems turn into big ones. Visit lakesidearty.com to schedule your free consultation.
Hi, I'm Eric. And I'm Howard. We're the pain guys of Canner and Pintaluga. You already know after an accident to call 911 and then 411. 1-800-411-PAIN.
But you may not know behind the number is an experienced law firm with nearly 100 attorneys working hard for our clients.
Call the pain guys at 1-800-411-PAIN.
Law offices of Canner and Pintaluga, Kyle Conhauser, Esquire. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Offices throughout the U.S. Not all lawyers licensed in all jurisdictions.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 40 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
The Annie Frey Show is St. Louis conservative.
Good afternoon. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. Always fun to hang out with one of my favorite people in the business, which is Brad Range. Ryan is off.
That's cool that I made that list.
Well,
you know a lot of people.
I do. I know a few people, but you guys are super fun and always fun to hang out with. So it's just you and me, babe. Having fun this afternoon. You know, it's funny. When I first started working here at 97.1 FM Talk was about the time the settlement came through from the Rams.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because how old is Annie's youngest? 5? Because that's when it happened, when she was pregnant.
5.
About 5? Okay, so I remember talking about that on the air on Sunday nights. So 5 years, I can't believe it's taken them 5 years to figure out where this money's supposed to go. Mayor Kara Spencer signed a bill, it's Board Bill 22, into law, officially launching the city's plan to invest millions of dollars into neighborhoods, infrastructure, and economic development. Apparently, they're going to use the RAM settlement funds, and they've outlined a framework for how the money will be spent. Apparently, it's going to be fun to watch what they do with this money and how, when they make these big sweeping pronouncements about how the money's going to be spent, you have to wonder about the details, right?
Right.
Spending plan centers on 3 major priorities: strengthening neighborhoods. Huh?
What does that mean?
I'm dying to know. I thought you might know.
Nope.
Okay. Improving infrastructure.
Okay. I know what that means.
Bridges, what
sinkholes.
Is that? Sinkholes, all that stuff. And creating long-term economic opportunities across the city.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
More political speak.
More political speak and more agencies, right? And more people who are bureaucrats.
Agencies and programs.
I'm reading it again slowly because I want to, maybe some other people are smarter than I am. By the way, the text line's always open, 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797. Let me know what you think about this. Okay. 3 priorities: strengthening neighborhoods. If I say it slowly, I'm thinking maybe I'll get it, right? Improving infrastructure and creating long-term economic opportunities across the city. Now, I'm a simple-minded girl. Isn't it the job of the free market to create long-term economic opportunities across the city?
Is it?
Right?
It's kind of to create that in a welcoming environment to that, but you can't actually just force it to happen.
No, you can't force it to happen. Creating long-term economic opportunities across the city. What you need to do is you need to get out of the way of businesses, right? And the regulations that they add and all the layers of bureaucracy that make it impossible to start a business.
Yeah.
Make it difficult. In every jurisdiction in the country, this is a problem. Some are better than others, but everywhere in the country, this is a problem. You want to start a small business or whatever, and they just put you through hoop after hoop after hoop after hoop. But how many, and you may start small, you may be 1 or 2 people. And the next thing you know, you hire somebody, then you hire 5 people and 10 people and 20 people. That's how you, in my opinion, this is how you expand and create long-term economic opportunities across the city.
Yeah, and the thing that people don't understand is you can't add people if you're taking the money that you'd use to be paying salaries and giving that to the government in taxes.
Right.
And,
exactly.
And fees and licenses and all of these other things.
It is so, it's funny. My husband has a handyman business. You may know that. He started after COVID. The career he was in for a lot of years just kind of got blown out by COVID, which he really didn't love anymore anyway. So we sat around and talked about it. What do you know how, what do you want to do? What do you know how to do? The man can fix anything. He has an innate ability to look at something he's never seen before and just figure out how it works. And he's just brilliant at that. He is swamped all the time. But we sat down and we figured out, okay, what does it take to start a handyman business? You get a license here, you get a license there, you get bonded, insured, all that. Okay, you do all these things. It's still not that much. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's not that much money. And it's interesting how many people he runs into at Home Depot, or he's there every day. Home Depot, Lowe's, mostly Home Depot. He runs into people who either work at Home Depot. They see him all. Just the other day, I'll give you an example. He runs into this girl all the time. He talks to her. She's works in the plumbing department, and she's really good with plumbing. Well, you know how much plumbers make. Hello, right? And he said, listen, if you go and get a license and you do this and that, and he's not trying to lure her away, but she's asked him about it.
Right.
He said, you can make a lot of money but it's going to cost you probably, I think he said it was like $1,000. You got to go get this license,
That's
this
crazy.
license, this license. Right. Okay. But it's not the end of the world. It shouldn't cost you that much. I agree with you. But that is not money that, can't you borrow that from people, whatever, to start your business? But it's interesting how many people, and several of them have talked to him because they see him all the time. He's always busy. And they ask him about it and he'll say, well, or the next time he sees them, well, they don't have the motivation to do what they have to do to start their own business, which doesn't make them bad people. But the point is, the barriers are not that high in some places, but you have to be motivated to do it. And when you start a business, then you start an ability to hire somebody. And that shouldn't be a government thing. Government should be getting out of the way, not creating economic opportunities. What does that mean? Hire more relatives? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Creating. Government should never create economic opportunities.
Government can't create.
Thank you. They can't. So once again, are we ever going to know where every dollar of the settlement goes?
No.
Do you think the answer
absolutely not?
That's tomorrow's poll question. No. The answer is no. We're never going to know. Somebody's brother-in-law is going to get their hands in some of it. We know that. I don't know whose brother-in-law, but no brother. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Annie Frey.
PointPestControl.com, point with an E, PointPestControl.com. I want to talk to you about their premier plan that I subscribe to. I want you to consider it for yourself as well. This premier service plan, they come to your home quarterly. So every season, you're going to have Point Pest Control come to your house, and they're going to take care of the inside of your home and the outside of your home, and you're going to be pest-free year-round. That's the Fry experience, at least, of being subscribers to their premier service plan. Ants, spiders, crickets, mice. When you
call 636-798-0023. That's 636-798-0023. In Missouri and Illinois alike, you can become a Point Pest Control Premier Service Plan subscriber like myself. The treatment is safe for your pets, for your family, for your kids, grandkids, for yourself, inside your home and outside your home as well. It's just not safe for the pest, which is incredible. Call them at 636-798-0023 and mention Annie to save an additional 10%. PointPestControl.com.
Want to hear a shocking statistic? Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. Don't believe it? Google it. And that doesn't count serious injuries like birth injuries to perfectly healthy children. All doctors wear white jackets, but it doesn't make them all the same. Most medical errors are committed by the same quacks over and over again. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Many hospitals looking for more profits are forcing doctors and their groups to be employees of the hospital or be forced out of their system. It's a troubling trend in medicine. People make mistakes, but medical mistakes are huge and often forever. If you believe your child suffered a birth injury or a misdiagnosis or mistake led to a loved one's death or injury, let our team of medical malpractice lawyers examine your case for free. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
When Donald Trump needs conservative votes to help pass his agenda for Missouri, Representative Trisha Burns never answers the call. Trisha Burns has missed 370 votes. Burns is bucking President Trump's priorities. Burns did not vote to stop DEI initiatives, prevent China from owning Missouri land, defund Planned Parenthood, and Burns did not vote to ban boys from girls' sports. Trisha Burns not showing up for Missouri and President Trump. Instead, Trisha Burns spends her time pulling pranks on the suicide prevention hotline. Yes, you heard that right. Trisha Burns lied to the police and staged a fake suicide emergency. She sent a series of messages to the hotline and said she, quote, had a gun to her head, end quote. When she got caught, she said there'd be no consequences because she's a politician. By August 4th, vote to show Trisha Burns that there are consequences to being bad at your job. Cut the Bullpack paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
An emotional moment on the Senate floor. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That applause for Darlene Graham, just sworn in as an interim U.S. Senator to finish her late brother Lindsey Graham's term ending in January. She's the first woman to serve in the U.S. Senate for South Carolina. A U.S. blockade of Iranian shipping set to resume an hour from now, but President Trump is reversing course on charging a fee for securing the Strait of Hormuz, replacing it with trade and investment after calls from Gulf allies.
And they would love to invest more money in the United States at record amounts. And that would be very acceptable. And this way, there's no fee. I don't like the concept of a fee. But at the same time, it's not fair that we're protecting this strait for the entire world.
Just getting reports of new U.S. strikes on Iran. A U.S. official telling Reuters they're eliminating emerging threats. Most vehicle stops by immigration and customs enforcement agents are being suspended for now.
Government sources tell Fox News ICE agents must now scale back use of vehicle stops. The guidance comes after confrontations involving federal agents in Texas and Maine that ended with people being shot and killed. In both cases, the Department of Homeland Security claims vehicles the victims were in were being weaponized against agents.
Fox's Gernal Scott, the new guidance still allows vehicle stops in some cases when targets have violent records or face serious charges. A source also tells Fox new training will be approved by the Homeland Security Secretary. An outbreak of illness believed to be driven by a microscopic parasite on produce keeps expanding. Federal health officials now say there are more than 5,000 additional cyclospora cases around the country requiring confirmation in addition to the CDC's more than 1,600 confirmed cases. They've issued a health alert to physicians to urge testing. America is listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
No complaints with our weather going through our Tuesday afternoon. Sunny skies, still relatively comfortable for this time of year. 89-90 for the high. Tonight, clear skies, 72 for the overnight low. Wednesday, sunny skies, a slow increase in the humidity. Wednesday afternoon, 91. Thursday and Friday, feeling a little more like summer. It's sunny, it's kind of hot and kind of humid. 93 each day. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Time to schedule your air conditioner service. Get not just your AC, but your entire HVAC system checked for $19 a month with the Preferred Partner Plan. And be ready for the first heat wave. AirComfortService.com.
I'm Heidi Harrison for Annie Frey. Good afternoon. Governor Kehoe joins us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk about what's going on with the flooding, the terrible, terrible flooding that's been happening, and how many people have been affected. That's coming out. And the incredible relief that they're doing for people, sending helicopters and doing all kinds of things to help people there. So that'll be coming up here about half an hour. Brad and I were talking during the break, and I was talking, and Brad was ignoring me. And I was talking, and Brad was ignoring me. And I finally said, "Can you hear me?" And I said, I think I smell smoke. He goes, "Oh, in your house?" I go, "Oh, so you can hear me."
I've got a lot of irons in the fire over here, Heidi.
Okay, now here's why I'm making fun of you, because my husband, this must be a man thing, because my husband was sitting in the living room one day and I was talking and he was ignoring me, and I was talking and he was ignoring me. And finally I said in the same tone, I said, "I smell smoke." He goes, "Where? You smell smoke?" See, that works on every man, apparently.
You know, they did a study on this. They said that men will sleep through a child crying, but if something goes bump in the night, they're immediately a dead sleep that'll wake them up. They're kind of programmed to hear danger. And so if you say, "I smell smoke," that's danger.
Okay. I'm not picking on men. I love my husband dearly. I think men are the greatest thing God ever created. But I think it's funny that, ladies, if you have trouble with your husband listening to you and you're concerned that he can't hear you, just say, "I smell smoke," and see what reaction you get.
But ladies, I would also encourage you to read the story of the boy who cried wolf.
Oh. All right. That's fair. So Kamala Harris has now been reduced to giving speeches in WNBA locker rooms. Now, normally I don't mention her because I'm so over her and Hillary Clinton and I don't mention any of these people. I'm just so over it. Can we just move forward, please? But she is a Democrat. She's a Democrat frontrunner at this point. She's all they got. So here's Kamala Harris giving a speech to I guess it was the Los Angeles Spurs. Is that who she was talking to? Sparks. That's right. Not Spurs. That's a different team. The Sparks, I can't know why it's WNBA. LA Sparks in their locker room. Here's our illustrious Kamala Harris.
And you are having an incredible impact. I travel our country. Young girls, boys, people of every gender, background, race, watch the W. Yeah. And understand how inspiring it is. So keep doing what you're doing. You guys are impacting people who you may never meet, people who may never know your names or mine, but they are aware of what you are doing, and it is giving them a sense of their value and their dignity and what they have a right to expect from this world. So congratulations on this game, but congratulations as much as anything else for the path you guys are charting. It is extraordinary to watch. That's it. I just.
Oh, brother. Well, that was an inspiring speech.
You ready to go win that game?
Yeah, so the whole world is watching them, being inspired by what? The fact that they're beating the crap out of Caitlin Clark and everybody looks the other way. Is that what we're supposed to be inspired by?
Like, here's what I don't understand. Like the buzzwords. She's like, you're showing people about dignity.
Yeah.
What? No, you're playing basketball. Dignity?
Yeah, and I got news for you, babe. Everybody doesn't watch the WNBA, and we have one of the best teams in the country in my city. And some people watch it, I guess, but I'm tired of watching Caitlin Clark get beat up. Every time I turn around, I see another clip of Caitlin Clark getting beat up. And the thing is, they just hate her. They hate her because she's so popular. She keeps her nose clean. Maybe they hate her because she's straight. I don't know. Not every woman is gay in the WNBA, but a couple of them aren't. Sophie, right? Sophie, I love Sophie and the pointing finger, and Caitlin Clark, and there's some other great ones. But I don't know if they hate her because she's straight or because she's white, or because she's popular. I don't know what it is, but the problem is when you go after the most popular person in the sport, that's just stupid.
Yeah, I mean the thing about it is I think it's jealousy. I saw some stats where it's like she accounts for like 20% of the revenue in the WNBA. Because of her, there were games, especially in her rookie season, there were games that were moved out of the normal arenas into full-size arenas, so they sell more tickets. Because of her, they can take private jets. There's just all sorts of things now that they're able to do because of her. But these women have been working so hard in this and not been able to break through. And then Caitlin Clark comes and breaks through, and there's a jealousy there, something of she hasn't put in the time or whatever it is. They don't like that she's good at the game or better than them or whatever. And they get frustrated, and so rather than do what's right, they try to hurt her.
Yeah, it makes no sense because if she leaves the game, a lot of the eyeballs that follow her are going to be gone from the game too.
For sure.
Yeah, did you see Sophie Cunningham the other night was a ring girl at the MMA fight?
I did.
God bless her. I had never seen a ring girl that didn't have implants before. That was shocking.
Well, the thing about her is I don't think they were planning on doing that, and she met Dana White prior to the thing, maybe an hour or two, and she's like, I want to do this, and he's like, all right, let's make it happen. And so they gave her a chance.
Yeah, I think that's great. She's just so fun. And there are lots of great players. I mean, Asia Wilson, there are a lot of great players in the WNBA, but why are you trying to be? She's not the only person anyone pays attention to, Caitlin Clark, but she's one of the very, very few. So why are you constantly trying to beat her up?
Could you imagine the NFL letting this happen to Tom Brady in his prime?
That is such a great point that I have never considered. You're exactly right. If this was happening in the NFL, and I mean, and believe me, there are quarterbacks who spend half their year. Wasn't it last year that Mahomes seemed every time I turned around, he was on his back last year?
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean,
so that happens.
Part of the game, but like the cheap shots, the dirty shots,
right.
Those guys would be suspended, fined, and even like kicked out of the league because this guy is the moneymaker. This is whether people like him or whether they hate him. If they love him or they love to hate him, he puts eyeballs on the game, and he's the premier quarterback, so they would protect him.
Yeah, that's a great point that you're making. The distinction is very clear. It's the cheap shots and the thing. I mean, a fist to the throat. Yeah, that's okay, no problem.
Yeah, I'm beside myself. I don't know. Like, just from a business standpoint, do you want the WNBA to be successful or not? And you finally have that superstar. Put her on a pedestal. Let the world see. Let her be the light that shines bright on the WNBA. They see her. People are like, well, I want to go watch Caitlin Clark. And then they get there and they find the Sophie Cunninghams. And who was the other lady you said? Asia
Wilson.
Asia Wilson.
Plays
and
for the Vegas.
All these different players that are out there. There are really good players in the WNBA. Yeah. And she is the person that can get eyeballs on the league and therefore on the other players. But instead, they're mad.
Yeah, it's like being on a TV show with a bunch of people and one particular one stands out and people tend to watch that person. Well, wouldn't you be happy to be part of the crew of that show that people are watching where nobody was watching you before as much? You get a new star on there and suddenly paying attention. Remember that? This is going back a ways. Remember when Heather Locklear was doing a lot of stuff on TV and every show she'd show up on that would just get huge ratings when she would join. Remember that?
Oh, for sure.
That happened a couple of times, maybe before your time, but that happened a couple of times where she would just show up on a show and she was beautiful and all that and fun and everything and did monster ratings because she was there. So everyone's going to beat her up now and try to give her a hard time and try to put her down. She's here now. More eyeballs are on the whole crew as a result of it.
Rising tide lifts all boats.
Well, you'd think so, but some people are. And you know what's interesting? When you're jealous, when you're trying to tear somebody else down, do you understand that that's not making you any better? Right? When you say somebody else is not that good, that doesn't make you better. It doesn't elevate you in any way to tear somebody else down. And it's just sad that, and like you said, the main problem with this is that the WNBA, they just look the other way. These refs, they act like they don't really care whether she gets destroyed or not.
It's terrible. It's mind-boggling to me just from a business standpoint. I would be livid if I were the commissioner.
And I don't know if it's because if the commissioner is one of those woke people who I don't know, or she feels like she's I don't know much about her politics and that kind of thing, because I frankly don't care about the WNBA so much. But I don't know it as well as I probably should. But maybe, some people would rather get rid of somebody who's given them the numbers because they don't like their politics. How many times has that happened? Some actor or somebody in Hollywood. I don't even know what her politics are. I just know that she's not out there screaming and yelling all the time about all the problems in the world. You don't hear her doing that.
Right.
Which some of the others are. Not all the others, but some of them are. And you just get tired of hearing the victim. We should get more money. Well, guess what? You don't bring in the eyeballs the NBA does. And the NBA's been, as you know, been supporting them all these years, been underwriting them. As soon as you start bringing in the eyeballs the NBA makes, then we'll talk about how much money you girls get.
That is the most basic thing. Like, we talked about this yesterday. World Cup's going on. The women get, the U.S. women get 50% of the money the men are making in the league, because they signed an agreement saying that they would get that money as well, because they thought that they needed to be paid more for what they did. But the thing is you're based on what you can produce. Right. And if you can't get butts in the seats, and they can't, the women's league, the women's World Cup cannot get butts in the seats to the same extent that the men's World Cup. People don't understand how big the men's World Cup is, but they're like, hey, we want our cut of that. And it's like, well, you didn't earn that. You earned what you earned. So you get your cut of that.
Right. Yeah, it makes no sense to me. I'm trying to think of any women's sports I really watch. Can I get back to you?
Sure.
I will watch when the Winter Olympics happens. I like the skating. I like the skiing, things like that. I'll watch that kind of stuff. But as far as women's sports, I don't tend to watch. I don't think a lot of guys want to watch women jumping all over each other, beating each other up. I ran into Layla Ali was in the hallway one time at the radio station where I worked, and she's beautiful, as you probably know. Mm-hmm. And I said to her, I know you probably get this question all the time, but if I had your face, I wouldn't risk it. I said, you're so pretty. Well,
if she's like anything like Muhammad was, she would have been like, oh, I'm not risking my face.
Right. That's a good point. I don't remember what she said. I'm sure she gets that question a lot. She's a beautiful girl. I don't remember what she said, but I just remember thinking, man, you are so pretty. Why would you take a chance of getting your eye socket bashed in? I just don't understand it.
Crazy.
Yeah. I watched something the other day, just skipping through channels. Bare knuckle fighting. Have you seen this?
I've seen that. Yes.
Holy cow. It's like a couple of drunk guys in a bar. I'm not saying there's no technique, but they are using their bare knuckles to just beat the crap out of each other.
This is like in a ring made out of straw bales or something.
I had never seen that before. I just came across it, flipping through channels, and I was like, what? My husband didn't even know what that was. He was like, what are you watching? I said, I'm not even sure. That's just
crazy.
A flat out brawl is what they ought to call it.
Yeah, no thank you for that either. I don't want to watch that.
I know, and I realize there's technique involved in all these things, but boy, I'll take a hard pass on that. I'm Heidi Harrison for Annie Frey. Okay. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. Look at this nice, sweet music that Brad Range is playing today.
Ethan picks out the music.
Well, good. Very nice. Very nice and calm. Did you know, you ever use those buy now, pay later services online? I've never used them, but apparently it's quite common for people to use them now.
It depends on what you mean, like 30-day same as cash, that sort of thing. I've done that before, but never.
Well,
I don't know what the right word
I'm not
is.
talking about like a furniture store or something. A lot of times you can do that at a furniture store and an appliance store, things like that, right? Same as cash
Right.
or tires sometimes. But I'm talking about those separate things where you buy now, pay later. I don't know what some of them are called. You know what I'm talking about?
I've never used anything like that because I'm always a little bit leery of it.
Right. No kidding. I don't want to mention, I'm going to just type in a name of one I can think of. I don't want to give them a free plug here, but they have different names. Okay. And in other words, it's separate from the company itself. Okay. So whether you're on Etsy or Amazon or all these places, they have another thing that you can go and apply to. Did you know that people who buy dogs at pet stores, I did not know this, you can get financing for puppies?
I would believe it. Some of those dogs are expensive. I wouldn't do that. I'm like, oh, that's a really cool dog breed. How much is that? Oh, I guess I will never get one of those unless I adopt.
I just inherited one that it looks like I'm going to keep.
I'm
fostering her. This dog cost them $2,800 at the pet store.
Woo.
She's pretty cute, though. I will be honest with you. I'm not just saying. Anyway, that's a lot of money, but they have fun. Can you imagine paying for a dog for 7 years? I mean, I looked into this. I actually looked in. No, I'm not kidding.
It's like a mortgage.
It's like a mortgage, and you hope the dog lives 7 years. I mean, hopefully, right?
15-year adjustable rate dog mortgage.
Right. I mean, my dogs tend to live forever, but my gosh, yeah. So anyway, Lending Tree says 41% of buy now, pay later users have made at least one late payment in the past year.
Oh, and you get
And that's
hammered.
up over last year. Oh, yeah, you get hammered, right? Because it's different than credit cards, I think. 91 million Americans use buy now, pay later. 91 used it in 2025. 91 million. That is crazy.
That is a
but
lot of
here's here's the important thing, okay? There's a woman named Tara Alderette with Money Management International. She's focused on debt management. She said, it's now a form of payment for people to use for day-to-day items.
So people like to point at that as an example of like where we are in the economy and stuff like that. And I don't think that that's true. I think that's where we are as a culture. I think that we've got people trying to, they just get used to buying stuff like that. And
right.
That's the way it ends up being. And now it's like, all right, well, I'm going to mortgage this bread.
Well, you never know. Here's an interesting question. Okay. There's a guy that is mentioned in the column I'm reading here. His name is Jason Jones. He had a fiance. He said, I bought some jewelry for my fiance at the time. I didn't have the money for it, but I really wanted to impress her. So it was something I could manage to, buy 4, 6, 12 payments, whatever, over the course of time. But he was able to pay it off in a couple of months.
Yeah.
But the issue is, I don't know if she's not his fiance anymore or she's his wife now. I don't know. But what's interesting to me is, if you're trying to impress her because you have to do that, you're not being honest with her.
Yeah.
Right. And if a woman is that shallow that she's mad because you can't buy her jewelry because you're not rich, then you don't want to marry her anyway.
Listen, the only jewelry that I ever had to make payments on was the engagement ring that I bought for my wife. It's the only thing that I've mortgaged financed as far as jewelry goes, because I just didn't have the amount of cash set aside in that. But it was a certain amount of time, same as cash, pay it off, then you're good to go.
Right. Got a comment here on the video line. I take advantage of the 0 interest for whatever month all the time. You just pay it off before the time expires. Well, yeah, you do. If you buy tires, sometimes they'll give you a deal, pay it off before in a year or whatever. But I'm talking about these, if you have these buy now, pay laters and you pay a late payment, that could be a nightmare.
Yeah, the penalties get really stiff really fast.
Yeah. Have you ever pawned anything?
No, I haven't.
I never have either.
I'm too afraid. I guess pawn shops are a lot bigger in Vegas. There's only a couple around
Oh,
here.
please, on every corner.
But
pawn shops and bars.
Wonder how that works. What do you go out there and you lose your tail at a casino and you go to the pawn shop and pawn your daddy's watch or whatever, or granddaddy's watch, and then you go get drunk at the bar because you're sad about what happened.
You know what? I used to have a friend who would pawn things pretty frequently, and she said the one thing they'll always give me money for is my gun. She said they don't give me money for a lot of other things, but they'll give me money for my gun.
I will not be selling my firearms. Thank you very much.
No. That's the only thing that's keeping us free in this country anymore.
What hey, we're talking about Vegas, but what would be in Vegas for somebody like me? That I'm not really a drinker. I don't drink. I don't gamble. I hate the idea of gambling, but I've always heard that you got to go to Vegas. It's a pretty cool place.
Well, there's stuff to see. There's Hoover Dam.
Uh-huh.
Okay, which is really worth seeing. Got to come in October. Don't come in July. Come in October when it's gorgeous. There's Hoover Dam. There's Red Rock, world renowned, beautiful area for hiking and climbing and all that kind of stuff. There are mountains outside of Vegas. Obviously, the casinos are nice. I would come if there's a certain show you want to see.
Okay.
Because everybody who's everybody comes to Vegas. Everybody. And so if there's somebody you want to see, I would do that. And there's amazing restaurants, and there's some really, really cool things to see in town, hotels that you may not see other places and all that kind of stuff. But it's not the deal that it used to be. I'm not going to lie. It's very expensive to come.
Yeah.
I
heard like the buffets were great, but I heard those aren't.
Well, they're great, but they're expensive. I mean, if you can eat a lot of food, it's worth it. I mean, it's like anywhere you go on vacation, right? Don't you always spend a little more because you're on vacation?
Yes.
Most of the time.
Absolutely.
Right.
I'm
So
on vacation.
that's something. Yeah, that's something to consider. You're taking the time and you're relaxing. So if you're going to come to Vegas, know you're going to pay more for the drinks, but you don't drink, so that helps.
Yeah.
I went to visit a mutual radio friend of ours one time who came to Vegas, and I wanted to see him. So I drove down to the hotel. I had to pay like $30 to park my car. I was already mad, but I want to see him because he's a great guy. And I didn't drink anything because I brought my own bottle of water. I'm not joking, ice and everything. But he paid like $35, I think, for I'm talking a gin and tonic.
Wow.
Like nothing with even an umbrella in it. Okay, just your basic whatever. And I thought, that's crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Well, but people do it, and they figure I'm having a good time, so it's not a big deal. And that's the whole. But if you come to Vegas, you don't gamble at all. You don't play slot machines or anything.
No, and I don't like card games, so it would have to be like shows and.
You're just a barrel of fun, aren't you? You're just for a good time, call Brad.
Listen,
You
if
don't
you
drink,
like
I don't gamble.
if you like airplanes and cars, I'm your guy.
You're the guy. Okay. Well, we don't have an airplane museum or anything, but there's some cool things to see walking up and down the strip. Some very cool things to see. But you got to come when it's not ridiculously hot like it is right now, or it's 110 today or something. Yeah, got to come when it's a good time of year. But there's a lot to see. But a lot of people don't gamble. They'll hang out at the pool. They'll hang out at the shows and go to, like, you got to see Hoover Dam. And if you don't want to drive it, you can fly. You can take a helicopter trip to it.
Oh,
from
really?
the strip. Takes you about 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, to get
That'd
there.
Be cool.
That's cool to see. That's worth doing.
Yeah.
And you can take a helicopter trip to the Grand Canyon. That's worth seeing if you can't make the drive, because that's several hours from Vegas.
Oh, wow.
So there's some cool stuff to see. So there's your Chamber of Commerce announcement today. You asked. Oh, speaking of Vegas, y'all, check out my podcast, Vegas Crime Files. It's all firsthand accounts of some very infamous crimes that happened in Vegas. The most recent one highlights the mass shooting that occurred in Vegas in 2017, where 58 people were killed on the Strip in a mass shooting. Please check it out, because the homicide detectives are talking about the case. Not me reading you a Google script. It's all firsthand accounts. All right, there's my little PSA. Coming up, cannot wait to talk to Governor Kehoe, find out what's going on with those horrible floods in Missouri and what Missouri is doing about that to help the people. That's all coming up on the Annie Frey Show. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey.
When the rain starts to come down, you get that pit in your stomach because it's going to come into your basement as well. You got to get over this by solving the problem once and for all. And I know from a past home where we had to get basement waterproofing done that it took a little bit for the forecast to show rain and for me to feel like I don't have to worry about this. anymore. Well, with Home Shield Foundation Repair at 314-271-9900, you call Matt Hayes, call his team, and have them look at your basement water situation and give you the solution, the explanation, the estimate that will give you confidence to go forward and get it solved once and for all. It comes with a lifetime warranty. But here's the other thing. Every time after the job is done and your basement doesn't leak anymore and you get all of that usable space back, the cool thing is that when rain is in the forecast, initially you're going to get that pit in your stomach and then you're going to have the relief because Home Shield Foundation Repair solved it once and for all. Find them online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-284-1238. 800-284-1238. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-284-1238.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mary Claire Haver, a board-certified OBGYN and menopause specialist. My new podcast, Unpaused, is the place for bold, unfiltered conversations about what it really takes for women to thrive in the second half of life. Every week, I sit down with medical experts, cultural icons, and powerhouse women to talk about what really matters. New episodes drop every Tuesday. Listen to and follow Unpaused with me, Dr. Mary Claire Haver, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Today's YouTube live chat poll, have the Cardinals got back, yes or no? We've got 4 All-Stars, a home run derby champion, and a team that's making a lot of noise in the regular season. We want to know what you think, so jump on Annie's YouTube page and vote in the poll and leave us a message telling us why you voted the way you voted. It is 2:32. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Happy birthday, America, in 2026. Get used to hearing the word semi-quincentennial. America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. Welcome to the Annie Frey Show, where we are proud to welcome and thrilled to welcome Governor Mike Kehoe of the great state of Missouri. How are you, sir?
Heidi, good afternoon. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. These floods are crazy in the Black River area. Talk to me a little bit about what's going on. I know you've already sent helicopters out to rescue people. What's the latest?
Well, we're very fortunate to have a fantastic first responder community, Heidi, down in the Reynolds and Iron County area. We had National Weather Service guy who, when I was down at the command center, was telling me 12 inches of rain in just a matter of hours in parts of the Arcadia Valley. And he has never seen that much rain in that short of a time. So it was a very unique, I would say historic storm that came through last week that really, in the Ozarks, when it rained, water only has one place to go, and it goes down into the valley. In this case, it was the Black River Valley. So we had our National Guard heroes out there, Missouri's Task Force 1, which is a nationally recognized first responder community group from folks all over the state, as well as local fire officials, sheriffs, even volunteer fire departments, all helping to get folks out of that flooded area and to safe zone. Unfortunately, one of the camps that the kids were at, enjoying a summer camp, they were stranded on a hill and surrounded by water. And so our Missouri National Guard, our citizen heroes, came in and took care of business with some Black Hawk helicopters and got them to safe ground. So I'm thankful to the first responder community and what amazing efforts they did to get people safe in that storm.
That's incredible. We're speaking to Governor Mike Kehoe. I'm Heidi Harrison for Annie Frey. When you're telling that story, it's a bad situation, I know, but I'm thinking of the kids who were little campers stuck on a mountain and getting to fly in a Black Hawk helicopter. That's going to be a story they're going to tell their grandchildren.
Well, I've told several of the parents that. I'm glad we were able to get the kids out, and after everybody was safe and and satisfied their kids, and some of the adult volunteers were out. I said, now you do know next year's camp experience will nearly be as exciting. So, it was really good to see, though, being able to use those assets, put people at ease. Obviously, if you're a parent, my wife and I are a parent of four, parents, or grandparents of one, I should say, you get a little nervous after last year's really tragic experience down in Texas.
Yes.
Like that. So we're able to give the parents a peace of mind and get them out of there safely.
Yes, we're speaking with Governor Mike Kehoe. So how many people are affected by this? What are the long-term effects going to be? Do you have any idea at this point?
Sure. We did 360 rescues. 106 of those were water rescues.
Wow.
It's mainly a 2-county area, and it was obviously low-lying areas. There was some property damage, fence damage, livestock lost. Obviously, we unfortunately did have one fatality in the county just a hair north of that, Crawford County. But without the swift action of our first responders, I was fearful that it could have been worse. Long term is just now is the cleanup process that starts right away. Our Red Cross volunteers are down there just doing a wonderful job trying to get people situated. We signed an executive order that declared the area a disaster area, and now we'll go through the process with those county officials who, again, were amazing to find out what federal assistance and state assistance can be had to assist in the cleanup.
And I guess there's not much that could have been done, obviously, to avoid this. I mean, you got Mother Nature pounding 12 inches of rain down in that area, and it's going to wind up in the valley, as you mentioned.
No, it's an act of God. There's nothing you can do. We did have some really good people that our state parks officials, our conservation agents, various assets we had in the area that were aware of the storms were working very hard to make sure people in low-lying areas were aware of it. And thankfully, those advance warnings did get people out of there in time and at least got them to high ground to where we could get them safe after everything unleashed.
That's incredible. I mean, the response has been incredible, and thank you for that. Governor, you have any comments about Lindsey Graham, his untimely passing?
I met him in passing a few times. I loved his common sense approach. He was one of, you think of him, you think of people like Senator Kennedy from Louisiana.
I love him. Oh, my gosh, I love him.
They have a way of putting things that make it seem super simple and to the point. Yeah. And that's certainly what I think about Lindsey, Senator Graham. What a great service to our country and obviously to his home state, but just a great common sense person. Somebody we need, more of in politics. It's unfortunate, as many of your listeners know, I'm 40 years in small business, so politics isn't my gig, but I do like people who just try to figure a way to keep government out of their life and then, make common sense solutions to get things to run appropriately. And that's what Lindsey Graham did.
Yeah, and there were always people who criticized Lindsey Graham because he was too willing to reach across the aisle. But my thinking is you're not going to be able to get anything accomplished if you can't at least talk to people of the other party. If you go in elbows out, you're not going to deal with anybody. You're not going to get very far.
Well, Heidi, what I always say, I'm a Christian conservative and proud of the conservative record that I ran on. But it doesn't mean that I don't get to talk to other people because It's easy to scream and holler and tell people how you would govern and all that. But it's really different when you actually want to get something done. You do want to govern. You have to figure out a path forward. Sometimes that takes what Lindsey Graham did. Our own Senator Roy Blunt, who just retired. We lost Senator Kit Bond a year ago. He was great at it. I know Senator Schmitz and Holly are trying to understand and work in those footsteps of the great Missouri senators that came before him. But you do have to work with the other side to actually get something done. And there's a way to do that without compromising your values.
Exactly. And by the way, I just want you to know I'm a Christian conservative too, Governor. When I said Mother Nature, I was joking about the rain.
Well, I was wondering about a girl from Las Vegas, if she could survive all that. But congratulations, because you have. I've read your bio. You've done great.
Well, I've stood up to the culture, and I've had him try to swat me, and I'm not backing down because I know what God says, and that's what I stick to all the time. But that's what we have to do. In the culture war, we don't have to go in elbows out, same thing, but we have to at least stand up for our beliefs, and we just can't waver, and too many people are waffling and wavering nowadays. Right.
Be proud of who you are, what your parents and the people around you brought you up to be, and, own it. That's what I say.
Well, and I'm proud of, I'm grateful to be a child of God, and I try to live up to what he wants me to do every day. Governor Kehoe, what a privilege to talk to you today, sir.
Yes, ma'am. We're thankful to have you on, and welcome to Missouri, and thanks for filling in for Annie. We're always grateful.
Thank you, Annie. We'll be back soon, and it's always fun hanging out with these crazies here on 97.1 FM Talk. They're a bunch of nutballs, but they're so great. They're so talented.
Well, they're fun nutballs. That's the thing.
That's the truth. Thank you, Governor. Appreciate you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Thanks.
ma'am.
That's Governor Mike Kehoe. I love it when he says I'm a Christian conservative. God bless him. We need more people who will say that. I'm a Christian conservative. I mean, I am certainly. But it's so nice to hear that from a politician, isn't it, Brad? Somebody who's actually going to own up and say this is the deal.
It is fantastic to hear that.
That's who I am. And he's right about that. He's exactly right when he talks about the fact that you're a Christian conservative, but you have to deal. We all have to deal with people every single day in our lives we may not agree on everything about, but that's okay. That's when you have to be nice and do the best you can without, as he said, without backing down. You're not going to take my freedoms away. But I think if we just get to the point where we all talk about things from the basis of, okay, we all want our kids educated. We all want to be free, all of those kinds of things. But how do we want to be safe in our country? How do we do that? How do we accomplish that? That's where we all diverge, is in that area. And if we could sit down and talk to each other, that's the best approach. And, I know there are a lot of people who criticize Lindsey Graham for some of those things and maybe being too willing to do things. But at the end of the day, even if you have the majority in both houses and the president, you're still going to have to deal with the other side.
Yeah.
And if you don't have to deal with them now, you go deal with them next year when they get the majority somewhere and they walk you like a fly because you didn't work with them this last time, right? So
yeah,
you've got to be, we don't put our trust in politicians, but we certainly hope that they do the best they can for us. And I'm so impressed with Missouri's response, aren't you? All the rescues that they did, helicopters they sent. Gosh.
I think it was yesterday. I was that Task Force 1. I was messaging back and forth with the spokesperson for Task Force 1, and he would have came on the show yesterday to talk about some of the stuff they did. He said, unfortunately, we're traveling back and we don't have great reception. So hopefully we can get them on in the future to talk about, get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty. But I'll tell you what, I've been really impressed with what Governor Kehoe has done. Heidi, I don't know if you know this or not, but the tornado that hit in St. Louis, was that March of last year?
Yeah.
That we were on air when that hit.
Wow.
And to watch Governor Kehoe, to watch Senator Schmidt and Hawley get involved and get relief, even Wesley Bell, who was the Democrat or is the Democrat representative for this area and running for re-election against Cori Bush, even he came together, and they all came together to get help for St. Louis. So this wasn't a red problem or a blue problem. It was, a red, white, and blue problem, I guess.
That's right.
I don't know. You see that these people can come together and they can actually get things done on things that when it's really important. And I've been incredibly impressed with Governor Kehoe and his governance. So we're always happy to have him on. It's great.
Well, that's when the leadership shows up. It's easy to quote unquote be a leader when everything's working fine, to legislate, whatever, when everything's good. You've got the majority, you get your way. It's when things happen. Look at, California is a great example, obviously, other states, but California, great example with the fires and Karen Bass, who was out of the country. The fire's coming. If you're going to travel, you cancel your trip. I mean, it's obvious. And you look at people like her versus people like Ron DeSantis versus people like Governor Kehoe, who when the rubber meets the road, when it's not easy, when something happens out of the ordinary, you man up and you handle it. You don't stand there with your thumb somewhere. You handle it. You remember Ray Nagin in New Orleans with Katrina, what a disaster that was. And I remember reading at the time, there was another, I believe it was, I want to say Gulfport. I'm doing this from memory. I believe it was the mayor of Gulfport, Mississippi, who at that time when Katrina was barreling down, took all of the big equipment that they were going to have to use to put the lines back up, the linemen use and things like that to clear the streets and all that.
Yeah.
Put it on ships, stored it on ships. And I'm just doing this from memory. Okay. This is my recollection. Put it on ships in the harbor so that it would be ready to go when the hurricane passed. It would be safe. It would be in the ships and be able to be offloaded instead of being destroyed and bounced around depending on the hurricane.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of planning. That's the kind of leadership that you need to show during a crisis. That's why you're the leader, not when things are going well, not when the money's rolling in, not when there's no crisis, even if it's a contrived medical crisis. What leadership is handling things when it's tough.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we don't have very many of those. So, and it's nice to see when you do have it, because, I know that, we all get disgusted sometimes by politicians, but I'm always hoping for the best. I love it when a governor says Christian conservative. I like that. I'd like to see my governor say that, but okay, we'll just move on. All right. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Annie Frey.
Never miss a beat. Take 97.1 FM Talk with you. The voices you trust, Mark Cox, Annie Frey, Mark Reardon, Scott Jennings, and more are just a tap away with the Audacy app. Stream 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
The Retirement Advisory Group is waiting for your phone call. They'd love to meet you, and I have a feeling that you will love what they can do for you to help you get to the promised land. Retirement, yes, that sounds like a very lovely and exciting thing that you've been working your tail off. So fill in those gaps of where it's kind of spooky to think about retirement, because you want it to be everything you've dreamt of, but you're just not 100% sure yet. Can I do it? Have I saved enough? Did I do the things that I need to do to make retirement the destination that I've always wanted and hoped it to be? 314-993-9494. Call 314-993-9494 and talk to the Retirement Advisory Group and Bob and Tammy Kershaw about ensuring that you have a retirement that's going to last you a lifetime. You've got the right phone number right here at 314-993-9494, and know that they are looking out for you. A no-cost, no-obligation retirement review, retirementkey.com.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
If you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just one dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Annie Frey. Follow me on all the socials. Heidi Harris Show, Heidi Harris Show, Heidi Harris Show. Brad and I were talking during the break about great governors. And it's nice to see when you have a good governor who's actually trying to make things better. You were talking about, Brad, the idea of eliminating the income tax in Missouri.
I'm not exactly they're pretty far along in the process here.
Okay.
But Missouri's trying to get rid of the income tax, and I think it's great. I think you look at a lot of the successful states around the country, and they have gotten rid of their income tax. And like, if people looked at them and said, well, what about this and what about that? And it's like, well, let's look at how Tennessee is doing it. Tennessee's having a lot of success. Let's look at how Texas is doing it. Texas is having a lot of success.
Nevada doesn't have one.
Nevada doesn't have one. What about Florida? Do they have an income tax?
I don't think so. But, Nevada spells it FEE. I don't know. They fee you to death. That's the problem. That's what you have to worry about when they want to eliminate one tax. They never want to eliminate their desire for money. That's the problem, right?
Well, I mean, you do need some money for government to function, but also a government that's starved of money is a government that's not big enough to take over your life. It just doesn't have the resources to do it. But I like the idea of these things being more of a sales tax. I don't think that that's Missouri's plan right now, but I like the idea of no income tax. I don't think you should be taxed on your labor. And then if you're taxed on your sales tax, then it's a consumption tax. And those that consume more pay more taxes. And generally the people that consume more are the people who make more money because they have more money to spend. And so then you get your whole progressive tax rates going that way.
And then I buy my car out of your trunk instead of at the store. I mean, my next TV out of your trunk.
Well, I don't think I would sell TVs out of my trunk.
Well, if I had to try to dodge a consumption tax, I just might do it. I'm just saying, buddy.
Well, it's just sales tax. You're paying sales tax already.
I get it. Let me give you a list here. Alaska does not have income tax. Nevada does not. South Dakota does not. Wyoming does not. New Hampshire does not. I'm shocked about New Hampshire. Tennessee does not. Like you mentioned, Washington State and Texas and Florida.
I mean, they figured out how to do it.
Well, what's good about eliminating the income tax, one of the many things that's good about it, is when you'll attract a lot of retirees.
Mm-hmm.
People who might be living on Social Security or whatnot, who might really be, basically worried about every single dime. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So why are the people who are pushing it? What's their motivation for trying to eliminate it? To attract other folks, or what's the point?
I think it's to make it a more attractive business climate.
Yeah.
If you work, like for me, it will affect me because I pay Missouri state income tax working in Missouri. Now.
Okay.
Illinois is going to get that money because I won't be able to claim that on my, I won't be able to claim the taxes paid on my tax return in Illinois. But, the idea that I don't have to pay to have a job is great. And so I think what they're trying to do is if you can say, hey, if you come and you work here, you bring your business here and your employees work here, your employees won't have to pay income taxes. I think that's an attractive hiring feature for businesses. And I think that's what they're trying to do is get businesses. And if you look at states that have, and recently they've had a lot of success, they've also pulled businesses away from blue states with high tax rates.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right about the fact that people look at a state and they say, what's the income tax? And the income taxes and the property taxes.
Yeah.
They look at those two numbers mainly when they're talking about moving to another state.
Well, and if you look at Illinois, where I live, that property tax is brutal.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the highest in the country.
I think it's certainly one of them. Yeah, and you wonder where all that money goes.
No, I don't. I know exactly where it's going, and anywhere to help us as downstaters. I will guarantee you that.
Yeah. No, it's frustrating. Tennessee's another beautiful state, and they don't have the income tax.
Yeah,
so
it's an awesome state.
Yeah, it is gorgeous. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. But like I said, in Nevada, we pay 50 cents a gallon on the taxes in the county I live in, where Las Vegas is, gas tax per gallon, 50 cents. It's one of the highest in the country.
So Illinois has a gas tax that automatically goes up every year. It was built in the law they passed. Yes, it goes up 1 cent every year. Automatically.
No.
Yes.
With no cap on it?
No cap.
That's just the tax.
That's just the fuel tax.
Now, is it by county or is that a state tax?
No, it's a state tax.
That's nuts.
Oh, Illinois, if it moves or breathes or grows, Illinois will tax it.
It's like California. California would be Haiti if it weren't for the federal government.
Oh man, it'd be bad.
As pretty as it is, because look at the rock. You've got Dominican Republic on one side of the island, and you've got Haiti on the other side. What's the difference? Government. I'm telling you, California would be Haiti if it weren't for the federal government bailing their butts out. Oh man, because of how awful they are as far as the taxes and the burden they put on people is outrageous.
Oh, they bury people. It's unbelievable how they will do that to people.
Yeah, I was looking for something for my mom's husband because she passed away, maybe downsize a little bit. But, the HOA fees are terrible and the taxes are terrible. And even if he sold his paid for house, he might be in a bigger hole than he's in now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that.
Like the retirement plan, if you're in California, is to sell your house and move and then live off of that.
Move to Nevada or Texas or something. That, you know what? You are exactly right. That's exactly what it is. Sell your house and move somewhere where you can pay cash for a house and hope it goes well.
It's harder to get a U-Haul going out of California than it is to go in.
I bet you're right about that. Hey, listen, always fun sitting in with you, my friend.
Yeah, you too, Heidi.
Yeah. So who's here tomorrow? Ryan Recker?
Ryan Recker will be in, and it'll be me and Ryan Recker tomorrow with the occasional pop-in from Ethan.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I love all you guys, and you guys have a great show tomorrow, everybody. And stay tuned for Mark Reardon. And I'm Heidi Harris once again, in for Annie Frey. You can follow me on all the socials. Heidi Harris Show, Heidi Harris Show, Heidi Harris Show. See you guys soon.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by LendSeek.
Your retirement plan should include more than money.
They also need enough purpose to be able to get up in the morning.
Financial planner Tony Orgoric in Buffalo, New York says that's why some people continue to work for years after they become eligible for Medicare and Social Security.
But because of social interactions and the intellectual challenges they've got.
In other words, finding your why could be easier than saving money.